Well, outpitch Carrasco. At the end of the day, or can you be better than him? Just do what you need to do, which is focus on yourself. Use the split. He started using it against the Cardinals, and he had seven strikeouts. So it just seemed like he had better command of that than the slider. Got hurt with a 2-run home run early, and then controls the drive pretty well. Not a lot of starts, but he's 2-1 with an ERA of under 2 runs a game. That certainly is much better than what's going on this year. So again, struggle. The high number by the right-handers. Again, it was higher than the lefties last year, but about 100 points lower. So really just, and it's hard. Just forget about what's going on. Focus pitch to pitch, inning to inning, and kind of take your chances. Certainly a very talented guy and tons of ability.
So tonight, of course, a big game for Kevin, because you'd like to make it back-to-back wins. Then you'd have a chance tomorrow to possibly get 3 out of 4 from a very good team in the Cleveland Indians.
Well, that's it. You know, very hard to win on the first night here because Kluber was that good, and then Tomlin struggles. Carrasco good. Gausman can be very good. We've certainly seen that. We'll see what kind of strike zone behind the plate tonight. Ryan Blakeney. Yeah, Blakeney, and
so Lindor 5 for 23 on the Indians road trip. Tonight is game 7 of their 8-game trip, and then they head home to see the Twins again. The trip began sweeping Minnesota at Target Field.
Well, he got healthy last night. I mean, he took a curveball to left. He hit a 2-run double up the gap off of Tillman. And there's a strike. Maybe not where the glove is, but you know, again, I mean, they're struggling a little bit after having a great month of April. 12 for 68 going into last night's game, but that gets 2 hits. And there's a 96 with some late light. See, and the other thing about pitching at this level, you'd like to, and I don't know, maybe it's changed a little bit, where you have to, you know, you're going to go through the order 3 or 4 times. You don't want to show them everything in the first inning. So we'll see what they do. And you can see right here, target down and away, throw them a fastball. And that's the way you find out. It's kind of the best way to get some information is to see if Lindor can cover that outside corner, because if he can, he's probably going to be able to get him out in, or maybe with some off speeds. And looks like what they're going to try to do here.
And already at a 7-pitch at bat.
And there's a splitter. So again, the first one he's thrown, and out of his hand it's a ball. So you go to 3-2.
Roger McDowell looking on. He has been working very hard, Buck said before the game, with videos and talking with the pitchers and trying to see what they can do to gain more consistency. And a bouncer to first, so Gausman wins the battle. Mancini unassisted, 1 away.
I'm going to take a look at the Orioles defense here at Camden Yards. Kim Jones and Smith, Machado, Yanish, Scope, Mancini, and Caleb Joseph getting a chance to catch tonight, having a nice year with the bat. And if you haven't been paying attention, Chris Davis not in that lineup because he's on the DL with an oblique. Hardy's got the broken right bone in his right wrist, right around the upper part of your hand into the wrist. So he's out 4 to 6 weeks or so.
Jason Kipnis will take a strike. Kipnis in the number 2 spot. He is 6 for 21 on the Indians trip. Gausman looking for his 4th win. Now, Jim, you look at the starts of games by the Orioles starters, and it seems to a man the first inning is really the albatross, and it's no different with Kevin. 12 earned runs in his 15 first innings.
Yeah, and this is his 5th, actually 16 starts. 5th, so that's over 15 starts. 5 of them came in 1 inning in New York. And that was right after Tillman gave up 6, and that's why the Yankees kind of rolled over the Orioles. So if you maybe give them a run or 2, the numbers wouldn't be horrible, but when you throw that 5 spot in there, it really shows that, you know, having trouble early. And then of course when you have that kind of inning, the pitch count goes up dramatically. Now he's capable. I mean, he's in shape, he's young, he's got a great arm. He could throw 115 pitches pretty much on cruise control. Now, whether they'll let him do that is another thing.
And he got him. Off speed pitch.
Well, again, we talk about equations, formulas to win. You get ahead, you throw strike one, which he did, and then you just drop off a splitter. And when he stays behind it, watch this ball go down. So again, it's still maybe a touch side to side, but because of the count, you can start it on the corner. You can see if he can cover it, and he can handle the change of speed, and he couldn't do that.
Now 2 down, and here is Jose Ramirez, who is on fire at the moment. And he'll take a strike. So Gausman strike one to all 3 hitters in this inning. Ramirez not only has an 8-game hitting streak, he has multi-hit games in all 8 games.
Yeah, for power, all kinds of doubles.
He has 37 extra base hits on the year. Switch hitter on that number 3 spot. Hey, Jim, you look at the great hitters that have come through Cleveland. Ramirez is the first Indian to have 8 consecutive multi-hit games since Kenny Lofton back in 1996. Lofton also had 8 consecutive multi-hit games.
Yeah, who was a perennial all-star. Gold Glover.
So Jose Ramirez down in the count 1 and 2 as Gausman gets ahead of both Kipnis and now Ramirez. And he got him, another splitter. Caleb will have to get it to first. He does, and there you go. 3 up, 3 down, and a real good start for Kevin Gausman. We'll head to the bottom of the first. Cleveland doesn't score, and here come the Birds. Of the first, here come the Orioles in the bottom of the first, and the Orioles lineup brought to you by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Seth Smith will lead off, and then Manny Machado. 11 total bases last night, tied for second most by an Oriole here at Camden Yards, going back to 2007. Jones, Trumbo, and Mancini with Scope at second. Then Kim, Caleb Joseph catching tonight, and Paul Janisch gets a start at shortstop.
Well, so for Carlo Carrasco, well, another ace. We saw Kluber on Monday. He travels well. He's 5-1 on the road. He's got 10 wins on the road since the middle of last year in the calendar year. And then the lowdown. I mean, he throws real hard. He's got a split, got a curveballs, and a changeup. And again, he's at his best when he pitches down in the strike zone.
30 years old out of Venezuela, now in his 8th season. Now here is Seth Smith to lead off. He's got a 3-game hitting streak going. And over his last 7 games, his bat really coming on. He is 9 for his last 25.
Well, he had the back problems in Chicago. Orioles were there for 4 games. And so, yeah, again, Carrasco is going to be 94. You talk to scouts. They said every once in a while, get a little bit harder. So you really got to battle him. While his stuff is good, and I don't know if anybody can have a breaking ball like Corey Kluber had on Monday night. he was making left turns to right-handers and just diving down and in. When fastball had great movement.
1-1 as he hits the outside corner. StatCast is powered by AWS. And there is the Chris Davis shift on Seth Smith. Ramirez, the lone infielder on the left side. Lindor, Santana with Kipnis, the second baseman, out there in right field. And that shows you that he does pull more than go the other way.
And there's the changeup, and yeah, they play him pretty much straight away in the outfield, and they play him shallow because Jackson's a center fielder that's playing left, and then you got a youngster out there in Zimmer, and then you got Ronnie Chisenhall, who, well, actually he's a third baseman, but he's playing well in right field and hitting. But they play relatively shallow for this ballpark.
Carrasco ahead 1-2. And too tight. Good take by Smith. Count evens at 2-2. The O's have won 3 of their last 4. They're 3-2 on the homestand, so back to 500. Bucks team is now 8-11 in the month of June. They had a winning April, losing May, and so far 3 below in June. Chopper right back to the mound. The pitch was sailing outside, and Smith committed to it. Easy out for Carrasco, 1 down.
Yeah, there's the defense again. Jackson, they get him this year from the White Sox. Zimmer, #1 draft choice. Chisenhall, #1 draft choice. Ramirez out of the Dominican. Lindor out of Puerto Rico. Very good shortstop. Kipnis, Santana, and the guy that hits home runs and walks and strikes out a lot. And Perez, who last year had a thumb injury, so back able to play. As they give Yan Gomes, who struggling at least against the Orioles a little bit with a bat.
And Gomes caught the first 2 games in this series on the bench tonight. And here's Manny, who had a big night last night. And his bat is coming on. Last night he had a 4-hit game and he was pounding the ball.
Yeah, assortment of pitches. Curveball, that was the first home run. And then a single to right, or actually make it to short. And then a 3-run home run on a cutter. And then he would hit a double on a breaking ball or a cut ball, a fastball away from Brian Shaw, and eventually score the go-ahead run.
Josh Tomlin last night, he started, and no decision. Each starter allowed 5 earned runs. Tomlin in 4 2/3, Tillman in 4 innings. Off speed pitch.
Yeah, there's the hook. He's got a slider, so there'll be different speeds. You don't see too many starting pitchers to pitch from the stretch. But again, a lot of the abbreviated windups now are almost like starting like that. So for him and his season, really his career, when he came over from the Phillies, turned around. There's his pitching coach, Mickey Callaway, when he actually went to the bullpen. And again, another little breaking ball. So strikeout. The changeup got Seth Smith to hit a comebacker to the mound. And like I said, he's going to pitch down in the zone. And that same pitch up is hittable, down, very hard to get to.
Carrasco, very much a strikeout pitcher. He's averaging just under 1 per inning, 9 per 9 innings. He's at 8.7. Now here's Adam Jones with a game-winning hit last night. And Adam all of a sudden now is hitting 4 straight games at a 400 clip. So 2 down. The thing about Adam, Jim, is we've seen him on this homestand. He has been going to right field a lot more than he has earlier in the year. I mean, the first game he singled to right, lined out to right, and last night the game-winning hit was to right field.
Nice curveball right there. Yeah, tell you, I mean, it started in Chicago where he hit all kinds of balls, and you can see the game-winning RBI. It was a cutter from Brian Shaw that he hit. Really just kind of let the ball travel and then smoked it into the corner. Manny Machado had to previously double. But then again, what did he do against Wainwright? He hit a curveball to left. So it's not a bad idea to take the middle. Again, when you get the 2 strikes, when you have a good swing, and he certainly has that, you react to the ball in, but you'll look middle, and then if you hang a breaking ball, it speeds up the bat, and that's how he's been hot. But again, this guy can pitch. I mean, this is why they have, and this is why they probably would have had a good chance. I mean, you can't always go back and change things, but if he had been healthy in the World Series, Kluber wouldn't have had a pitch on 3 days rest. It would have been a whole different World Series. And they went all the way to Game 7, extra innings. But Salazar, you know, he got hurt. He was in the bullpen, but he wasn't able to start. So they went with secondary starters.
Strike 3 called on the outside corner. So a 3-up, 3-down inning, 2 by strikeout. Each team goes in order in the first. Brought to you by PNC Bank for the achiever in you. We'll get on MASNsports.com. Rock Kabako talked to Zach Britton, who says he's feeling normal again. Of course, Rock's blog always filled with notes. Steve Molesky, Orioles reaching agreement with 2 of their highest draft picks in about 27 total from the draft. And Rock Kabako talked with Wellington Castillo about pitching prospect Lucas Long, who he caught while he was on a rehab assignment at Bowie. Lucas Long we featured the other night. He's having a real good year for the Bay Sox. So MASNsports.com. Gausman back to work. Here's Encarnacion. First ball swinging, fouls it off. Encarnacion always dangerous.
Is he ever? Well, first month 200 with 4 home runs. Second month 263 with 6 home runs. And then this month, oh, I mean, he's getting on base 49% of the time. He's already hit 7 home runs. He's driven in 17. He's having a scope-like month. And he loves hitting here, as you can see from the numbers.
Gausman ahead 0-2. To center field, Adam Jones back on it. He has a play. And a 3-pitch out. Encarnacion retired and 1 away in the Cleveland second. Well, the Orioles are back home at Camden Yards on Friday, June 30th. They'll take on the Rays. Game 1 of a 3-game series that night. And on Saturday, July 1st, first 25,000 fans 15 and over receive a Zach Britton bobblehead. Then on Sunday, July 2nd, kids ages 4 to 14 can run the bases, presented by Wise Markets. For tickets, Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. Lonnie Chisenhall takes a strike. Chisenhall at 298. He is 9 for 22 on the Cleveland road trip. Strike 2. And this one lifted to left. A long run for Kim. He was over towards the gap, and he won't get there. That's too bad for Gausman. He made a good pitch, and it was served down the line. And because Kim plays towards the gap, he couldn't reach it. So there's a 1-out single.
Now take a look, and I mean, it's, you know, inside middle, up and in. And then again, it's, you know, right off the bat, if you're Kevin Gausman, you know he's not going to catch it. You just hope he plays it as it is, which is a single. Well, this club, they make a lot of contact. I mean, Hall up in Minnesota hit two home runs in a game, as did Encarnacion. You know, this guy, you got to throw him strikes. But once you know that, that's what good pitchers do. They command the ball. So again, I mean, the close pitches he'll chase if you get ahead. But early on, as we said, he looks for a little circle, and that's where he's looking to until you get the 2 strikes, and then you get a chance for him to maybe expand the strike zone. And he did hit 34 home runs last year.
Strike at the knees, 1-1.
See, in that pitch, I mean, this is what you do. You get back in the counts with good fastballs. Yeah, it's funny. He went 0-2 on Edward Encarnacion, and that fastball is right down the middle 0-2. So you get away with that. But when you start making pitches on the corners, you become a much better pitcher.
Carlos Santana 8 for 20 on the Indians road trip. And that is a 400 clip. First base runner allowed by Gausman. Of course, that's been one of the issues that has plagued him on the year. How many runners get on base? A little bit low. 3-1. Gausman 17.5 base runners allowed per 9 innings. That is the most in the major leagues. So to put it in perspective, Dallas Keuchel of the Astros allows the fewest. He's at 7.9 and Kevin's at 17.5. So Keuchel's 10 fewer base runners per game.
Well, he's also 9-0, but he's on the DL for the 2nd time with neck problem.
Strike at the knees, 3-2.
And a former Cy Young Award winner. I mean, he's a command guy.
So
I mean, that's what you strive for. And that's what all your side work is about. And I was extremely wild early on, and I learned there were certain things you have to do. Hitter stand up there, catcher. He doesn't just put the glove on the corner. He splits the outside or the inside corner with his body. And then you learn to do it. But it has to be repetitive.
So the moral is, in the case of Keuchel, if they don't get on, they don't score, and he's undefeated.
Well, he's also playing for a team with one of the best records in baseball. So, you know, and last year when he wasn't healthy and he could make his pitches, he did not have a very good year. This year he's healthy. You know, he had some shoulder problems last year, as did Kevin Gausman. You know, Kevin, I mean, last year, what, 30 starts? He's on a pace for more than that this year because he kind of, not that he took it slow in spring training, he just wanted to make sure he build up, and it was a longer spring because of the World Baseball Classic. And he had a good spring.
A 3-2 on Santana with Chisenhall at first, and another foul ball. With the Indians, they just spoil pitch after pitch.
Well, he hasn't thrown him anything but fastballs. So again, right here, and I can't make this decision for him. He has to feel like he has enough confidence to a very, very disciplined hitter. Can I throw something close enough that, number one, can get him out, and number two, he'll swing it.
And he got him.
And there you go.
Splitter.
Threw him a good splitter. He got 2 strikeouts on it in the 1st inning. This is what he started using against the Cardinals. Got in trouble early, gave up a hanging breaking ball to Paul DeJong, who was playing second base that night. Got down 4-1, and then all of a sudden started pitching better. Now they got him with a pitch count. As you can see, Santana wasn't looking for that, and it was a good one.
3rd strikeout already, 2 down, and here's Austin Jackson, who moves up to the number 7 spot tonight, with Gomes not in the starting lineup. Austin Jackson, a good pickup by the Indians. Veteran outfielder. He's playing mostly left, but he can play all 3.
Yeah, he's very much like what the Red Sox did, you know, going out and getting Chris Young. You look for guys. I mean, Jackson doesn't dominate lefties like Chris Young does. He's always. They both have. When you look at Young or Jackson, they both have great track records. Jackson never had the power that Chris Young had when he first came up with the Diamondbacks. But you look for veteran guys that are willing to come to winning clubs, Red Sox, Indians, and they'll assume a role where they don't play every day. unless they earn it.
2-1 as Gausman misses inside. Well, Jackson has hit 4 in a row. Facing Gausman coming off a loss last Friday night against St. Louis. He has lost his last 2 starts. And his last win was May the 31st against the Yankees. Fly ball to right. Has some carry. Smith is back on it. And in front of the grounds crew shed, he makes the catch. So Gausman works around the 1-out single. Bottom of the 2nd coming up. No score. And we'll win $500 more for every Orioles home run hit in the game tonight. You can play Home Run Rich's scratch-offs and win up to $50,000 or enter non-winning tickets for a chance to be the contestant of the game. Visit mdlottery.com/homerun. Chris Davis on the bench. But Showalter said that Chris received a couple of those PRP injections today. He's out with the oblique strain. He will travel with the team to Tampa. Birds will play the Rays at the Trop this weekend. Then he's going to head to Sarasota and hang out with Dave Walker while the Orioles are in Toronto. When Trumbo swings through it 0-1.
Yeah, for Carrasco, and the difficulty is that he gets all the stuff over. He's got 4 pitches. You know, he throws hard enough. You saw right there, 95. Mark Trumbo, a good fastball hitter. And again, you know, enough movement. And there's a perfect slider. That's, you know, we've seen the curveball that struck out Manny Machado. So a nice mix of pitches.
Well, he has won his last 2 starts, and in 13 starts, he has 8 quality starts. So he usually gives his team a chance to win. Trumbo line drive and a foul ball.
And the other thing they do for Carlos Carrasco is they score a bunch of runs for him. So they're getting over 6 runs a game, and that's the average. Here's a slider, nice swing, and boy, I think maybe he'll have a little good fortune, and it just slices foul. Well, he's probably going to be a double. And Carlos is saying, "Yep, I can't get the ball up." That same pitch down, you probably get a strikeout. Yeah, it's funny against good pitchers, and how many pitches did the Orioles get to hit off Corey Kluber on Monday?
Not many.
Maybe a half a dozen out of 106. So you're hoping that number 1, Gausman pitches well tonight, and that he'll make a mistake or 2.
He has given up 9 home runs.
Yeah, what lefties hit 7 of them. He dominates right-handers. They're under 200 at 199. You can see why.
And he got him.
Yeah,
real good pitch outside.
Yeah, that's the slider. You don't pick up the speed, and you know he's got 95, and you were a little late on it, so you want to be quick, so you commit yourself. And you know, again, this you just got pitched to. Can't do much about this at bat. A little unlucky because he had a good swing at the one pitch that was hittable, hit it well, but just sliced it foul.
So here's Trey Mancini, who has really been swinging the bat well. And Mancini, Jim, told me at the batting cage today that when Trumbo is up, because since Davis has been out, Mancini has been batting 5th behind Trumbo exclusively. He watches how they pitch Trumbo, and then when he goes to bat, he looks for similar patterns. And Jonathan Scope was standing there, and he said, well, I watch Trey because I follow Trey. They're all very similar hitters in the sense that they have power. Mancini is the best at going foul line to foul line, but Scope is much better at that this year. So they're using their teammates by where they bat in the order for information. And there's a high chopper to third. If it stays fair, it's trouble. It is fair, and no play to first. Mancini has an excuse me base hit.
And then Trumbo's going to watch Trey Mancini and say, maybe I need to do that next time. No, you know, Todd Frazier was talking about that. He's hitting behind Avi Garcia, and who's having a great, you know, young hitter, 26-year-old. Here's your Baltimore chop, where there's terminology right off the plate. And Ramirez gets to it very quickly, but wise decision here. Yeah. Not going to be throwing that ball away. But anyway, I mean, Frazier was saying, I just kind of watch the way they pitch him, and I get some idea. Now you have some idea. You've watched film of Carrasco. They've watched film of Gausman.
Breaking ball for a strike, 0-1.
But when you face, you know, the Carrascos, the Klubers, you get your work cut out. You know, because they have good fastballs, they have great command, they can throw 2 or 3 of their secondary other pitches over, and they could do it pretty much at any time.
Ground ball to third. Ramirez to second out there. Kipnis back to first. There's a double play. And that will end the inning. So the 1-out hit and none left. We'll head to the third. No score. In you and Austin Hayes getting it done.
Yeah, last year, the 3rd round, 91st player out of Jacksonville University, so a college player. Coming fast, isn't he? There's a lot of hits, a lot of home runs, a lot of RBIs. And then get a little idea right here. Obviously gets on top of the high fastball, back up the middle. You can see some back speed. And then they also like the fact he's been very good defensively. So you got to like that. You know, 91st player drafted and racing his way through the minor leagues.
I talked to an executive at the Bay Sox today, and he was telling me that he talked to a scout from another organization, not from the Orioles, who was in there scouting the Keys, and then he went up to scout the Bay Sox. And this scout said that Austin Hayes is an everyday major league player.
Oh, good. Orioles need him.
And that's from a scout from another organization, not someone from within. Bradley Zimmer, the rookie, takes strike one, fouls it back quickly, 0-2.
So Kevin Gausman, very aggressive. We talked about, again, he controls the drive, so maybe feels like, he's made some adjustments. He's moved over on the pitching rubber a little bit, maybe a little bit more towards first base, which is, if we're looking from this angle, to the left. And there's a see you later split. One of our keys, use split. Very effective for him against the Cardinals after some early runs. Bottom drops out. So you show him 95, and there's probably about a 12-mile-per-hour difference, and then you get movement. Really good movement on the split-fingered fastball.
4 strikeouts already. Here's Roberto Perez, the number 9 batter. Tough year at the plate at 159. Strike one. So Gausman, first time through the lineup, strike one to 7 of the first 9 batters.
There's another one. Well, I always think that when Louis Tiant would come in, or a lot of the Nolan Ryan or whatever, you look out when you're sitting on a bench or you're pitching against him, you go, pretty impressive. What do they do as he goes down on 95? So there's quick work. What are they doing, and maybe what do I need to do? So if you watch Corey Kluber on Monday and you saw that he's throwing strike one, and he threw 106 pitches, 80 of them for strikes. I might have to do that. And this is what Kevin's doing. He's fully capable of being a very good major league pitcher. But as he's learned, and we all learned, it doesn't happen. There's a process to it.
Francisco Lindor bounced out to Mancini, leading off the game.
And you get an idea that, and hopefully when you're pitching well, you figure this is going to be a pitcher's duel. So do I throw strike one? Do I get the first out? Do I keep the ball in the ballpark? Do I not lose focus when I get 2 quick outs? Do I walk somebody that can steal the base? All those factors come into close games.
Lifted to left. Kim back on it as the ball carries, and Hunsu runs it down. So Gausman, a second 3-up, 3-down inning. Indians go in order. Orioles today invited 14-year-old Luke Terry. He's an 8th grade catcher from Cornersville, Tennessee. He had a special experience on the field. Luke had his right arm amputated as an infant. But through perseverance and hard work, he's overcome physical challenges on the field and inspired millions of supporters with determination. Jim Palmer threw out the first pitch tonight to Luke, who made the catch and then fired to John Russell. Wellington Castillo, Caleb Joseph, John Russell, all were out there. And during all that, a family from Iowa was here watching the game, and their son is also a catcher. He's on the right in the Baltimore t-shirt there, and he also has one arm.
Yep.
And now the families are sitting together. He's a catcher. Luke is a catcher. So now the families have bonded. So coincidences? I think not.
No. Very nice young man. In fact, the whole family. And I said, let's get to the important things. How many people in your town in Cornersville? And he goes, 1,200. I said, how about the girls? Anyway, and yeah, it's just amazing. Well, Jim Abbott actually pitched at a major league level with his part of his right arm amputated, and we did actually beat the Orioles for his first major league team. And I see him from time to time. I thought Wellington, he was overwhelmed by it. He said, I just can't believe he can do it. And then if you saw the pregame show, he was just saying, it really touched his heart, and it just shows you what hard work and persistence and diligence will do. John Russell the same way, former catcher, the Oriole bench coach.
Well, Buck was saying before the game, talking about Jim Abbott, Buck managed him in New York, and Abbott pitched a no-hitter. 3-1 on Kim. Joseph and Giannis will follow.
Well, so the same things apply for Carlos Carrasco when you get Evan Gosman on his game tonight. So he knows, and again, the importance of getting first hitters out, and the Orioles they're going to try to put a couple of good at bats against him. And then you do become a defender when you release it.
So Kim taking away one away. Here's our league leaders, brought to you by Coons.com. When you're talking cars, you're talking Coons.
Well, this is what we said. I mean, one of our another ace, but also travels well. He's 5-1 this year, but look at this: 10 wins with a whip. That's walks and hits, low ERA, low batting average, and then a lot of strikeouts. So wins and whip, and ERA first, and second. Pretty impressive. And he can field.
In April, he made 5 starts. He was only 2-2 as Caleb Joseph comes up. But Carrasco's ERA in June was 2.04. It was the lowest April ERA by an Indian starter in April since Cliff Lee in 2008, when he had an ERA of 0.96. So 5 April starts for Carrasco, 2.04. Cliff Lee in 08, 0.96. And then in 2009, July of 2009, they were traded for each other. And Cliff Lee went to the Phillies, and Carrasco came to the Indians. He was in AAA with the Phillies at the time. That was a 4-for-2 deal, and 4 went to the Indians, and Cliff Lee and Ben Francisco went to the Phillies. That's interesting that he shares a mark with a player he was traded for.
Well, he's turned out to be good, and Cliff Lee had a terrific career. And so again, we've seen that you can have maybe good swings against him if he gets behind. He got behind Kim, hit it hard, but he robbed him of a base hit by spearing it. And right there, Caleb with a 2-1 got a fastball to hit. Yeah, a lot of the people that I talk, scouts in the press room, said you'll get a fastball to hit, but will you hit it? And we've seen that. Haven't done that yet.
And he went too far on the check swing.
So again, he sat on the bench and watched Corey Kluber strike out 11. And how did he do it? With a lot of pitches like Caleb just struck out on. I mean, this is a slider that kind of takes a left turn, and he tries to hold up, can't do it.
He's faced a minimum 8. Mancini reached on a Baltimore chop hit, but the double play erased him.
Well, you got the no-hitter out of the way early.
Paul Giannis up, getting a start. That was coming right back at Jim Palmer.
Almost an incoming, but just a little low. Well, when balls are fouled straight back and you're looking at the monitor, that you better pay attention.
Strike 2 on the breaking ball. Giannis in his 5th game. He rejoined the team when Hardy went on the DL. And he got him. Changeup. So a 3-up, 3-down inning. 5 strikeouts for Carrasco through 3 innings. RAV4. Toyota, what drives you? Visit buyatoyota.com for great deals. Well, after the 44-minute rain delay, it has cleared up nicely and a beautiful evening sky here in downtown Baltimore. And the Hawaiian t-shirt.
Oh yeah,
it's everywhere.
It is.
Kevin Gausman, 1 over the minimum through 3 innings. He has struck out 5. Carrasco has struck out 5. Here's Jason Kipnis. And a strike. Kipnis struck out his first at bat. Caleb Joseph catching Gausman tonight. Wellington Castillo the other night took a foul ball off his throwing shoulder. He played last night. It was 2 nights ago that happened. A little stiff, so he's sitting it out tonight. But Buck said he's available if needed. So it's good to have somebody with the abilities of Caleb Joseph to step right in. And Wellington, at least for the early part, on the bench, so he'll bother Wayne Kirby. Or maybe seeking advice.
Oh no, he loves to talk baseball. There is no doubt. I mean, I think that's one of the surprising things. When not that he's from the Dominican or whatever, or that he's a Latin American player. It's just that I never knew he was that engaged with trying to be the catcher that he is. Because it's not easy. I mean, you really have to commit yourself to have a relationship with all your pitchers and try to make them better. I mean, he asked me yesterday, what do you think, we can do to make them a little better? I said, how about some blown away fastballs? That's a good start. I mean, really, that sounds like a catch. But again, and the reason I said that is because when you have a young staff, and Kevin Gausman, this is what, his 88th major league start, and so maybe not in age as much as in experience. How do you pitch? You pitch low and away, and they're not as comfortable in. He's much more comfortable to his arm side to lefties, and he ends up walking them. So, told you, if you get a pitcher's duel, you don't. And second time through the order, and so the advantage now here in the 4th, as we saw with Dylan Bundy the other night. He didn't cruise through the first 3, but they got to him in the 4th the second time around.
Well, last weekend the Orioles wore the special Father's Day uniforms. Get online Orioles.com/auctions and you can bid on these autographed and authenticated game-worn jerseys and caps. While the proceeds benefit the Orioles Charitable Foundation, the bidding will close Saturday at 10 p.m. That's Orioles.com/auctions. Rip foul off the bat of Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, he knows where the bat head is, and you talked about 2 or more hits in 8 straight, and as a matter of fact, I mean, the Indians, 7 consecutive games are 10 hits or more. So they're not only are a number of their guys, but as a whole, they're hitting well. Offense has really picked up over the last 8 games. Good splitter.
And the Indians as a team at 356, and there are the splits on Kevin. First time, second time, and third time through the order.
Well, that's when you're pitching poorly, so you're hoping that's going to change, and that it's not like he's getting tired. It's just, you see, there's a good take by Ramirez, because that's the pitch he struck out on the first time. And I mean, it's one of the. I mean, they play him almost straight away. You hardly ever see this at the major league level. With the exception of Manny, a little bit off the line. And even there, that's a 95 up and in, and he's still able to get the bat. At least foul it off, and they've done a great job of that. Another Latin America player that they signed for $50,000, and then they extended him, Jim, 5-year deal for about $26 million. That could go with a couple of options all the way to 50 over the course of 7 years.
Gausman ahead 1-2. Upstairs with a fastball. He is in such a zone right now. He does not chase.
Well, and because you have the runner at first via the walk, there's a huge hole, and we've seen he's got a very quick bat. And no doubt about it that that if you leave a ball in the middle of the plate, and we saw it off of Bundy, he doubled off the wall in right field in the 4th. And there's another good splitter that he's able to. Ty Van Berkeley, the hitting instructor, said he's fearless. And not only is he fearless, because he's very aggressive. And that's kind of easy to do when you're red hot, and he's red hot.
Just 24 years old, Ramirez, and he's already in his 5th season with the Indians. He came up as a young shortstop, but then Lindor showed up, and now he's the 3rd baseman. In fact, he's even had some time in left field to keep his bat in the lineup.
Oh, he can play everywhere.
Everyday 3rd baseman now, giving them a solid defensive infield. Here comes the 7th pitch in this at bat, and it's outside. So again, a deep count, long at bat.
Yeah, he fouled off the good splitter, and then Kevin got on the side of that one, and it really never was close to being a strike. I mean, he's hit everywhere he goes, Jim. I mean, you know, over 300 in the minor leagues. Last year, his first full year, 312. It's a tough out.
And a base hit the other way. So Ramirez extends his hitting streak to 9 in a row. And a real good at bat on the 8th pitch. He slaps it the other way for a single. And the Indians have 2 on with nobody out. Fans, you can text Masson's word of the day, which is insurance, to 29292 for your chance to win a meet and greet with Chris Davis from Masson. That's insurance to 29292, brought to you by Chesapeake Employers Insurance, your workers' compensation specialist. Gausman already 4 3-2 counts in this game, and he puts 2 on for Encarnacion.
Well, that's how you get the pitch count to 60, 41 strikes, 19 balls, even though you're not wild. I mean, only the leadoff walk here in the 4th. The 1 home run by Encarnacion against Gausman. He only came. He's now what, 2 for 17. A little bit late. You don't see that out. I mean, he loves the ball out over the plate. I mean, again, when you're as hot as he is, 7 home runs. He's aggressive. Doesn't quite get to it.
Encarnacion flied out his first at bat. And another one. He went right back to the same pitch.
Yeah.
Little different velocity,
yeah,
but same location.
Yeah, little splitter. Big swing. Almost lost the bat. Well, what he hit it last night, to 354 to the upper deck, 2nd ball this year. Manny Machado doing it the first time.
0-2 on Gausman. And fouls it back to stay alive.
Now, see, he can go to another level. You know, he goes right to 97. And we've seen 98 on occasion. And he got that ball in. See, much more comfortable into righties and away to lefties. So just go remember, the home run he threw in the last game was on a slider. Probably a slider count here. Maybe get a double play or a strikeout.
And he got him.
Splitter.
Encarnacion down on strikes. And a big out, 1 down.
Yeah, if you can't get a double play, you'll take this splitter that, boy, just dives. And of course, Encarnacion, you were talking about, you know, over what, 43 walks now. So he's very aggressive. When you changes when you get ahead of him.
So he is 0 for 2. Here's Lonnie Chisenhall. So now a double play can get him out of the inning. Inside with a fastball, 1-0. Chisenhall slapped a single to left field his first at bat. He is 10 for 23 on the Indians road trip. The Indians 5-1 on this trip. Tonight and tomorrow will conclude it. Then they head home. Fly ball to center. That's playable for Jones. Adam glides in. And 2 down.
Yeah, really nice pitch. In fact, 2 in succession. The change up to get Encarnacion to get the strikeout, and then right on the fist of Chisenhall. Because the advantage of pitching game 3 in a 3-game series, or in this case a 4-game series, if you've seen almost all the hits he's gotten are out over the plate, and he got a hit the first time, so you change. And that's the Kevin Gausman we saw in August and September of last season. The ability to pitch to both sides of the plate.
Nice crowd tonight for Dylan Bundy t-shirt night. So 2 on with 2 down now for Carlos Santana. Outside ball 1. Santana struck out his first at bat. Gausman with 6 strikeouts. He has 3 wins, and they really have been spread out. He won April 13th in Toronto, May 8th here against the Nationals, and then May 31st here against the Yankees. Hard hit ball. Mancini knocks it down. Gausman to the bag, and he gets there ahead of Santana. Mancini takes a double away from Santana, and that denies the Indians getting on the board. Trey towards the line, knocked it down, and gets it to Gausman for the out. PNC Bank, for the achiever in you. Oriole Park at Camden Yards on this Wednesday night. Nice crowd on hand and very pleasant evening. Still muggy, but it is summer. June 21st.
That's right. You don't have a choice but to know.
There's Seth Smith, who hit a comebacker leading off in the first.
Well, he's the type of pitcher, if you have a pitcher's meeting with Carlos Carrasco because he has 4 pitches, and you said, okay, Seth Smith, good fastball hitter. You know, down, he's a pull hitter. Up and away, he'll go the other way. How do you get him out? Well, we can throw him changeups, we can throw him curveballs, sliders, try to get ahead. And he can do it on most nights. Can you pitch to both sides of the plate? Well, there's 95 on the inside corner. So he can do a lot of things, and that's why he's a good pitcher.
51 wins, 49 losses in his career. Made his big league debut September 1st of 2009 following the trade from the Phillies. He was in AAA with the Phillies. After the trade, he went to AAA Columbus for the Indians for a month, and then was a September call-up. He's only 2 above 500, but his career ERA is pretty impressive at 3.85, so he's below 4. Borderline called strike. Smith does not agree.
I'd rather be hitting 3-1, maybe get a fastball. We saw that last inning. Had a couple to hit. I saw a big strike zone last night from Kerwin Danley.
And we have third base tonight. So 2-2 on Smith, leading off in the Oriole fourth in this scoreless game. Ball 3.
Yeah, read that nicely out of the hand.
Shift is on. See Kipnis out there in shallow right field. Strike 3 called. He got it on the corner.
One of the scouting reports on the lowdown. And he threw that ball right at the knees. And certainly a strike. I think he's still fuming about the fastball down and away that he called off the plate. And that one pretty much didn't miss.
So 6 strikeouts for Carlos Carrasco, and here is Manny, who struck out his first at bat. Manny 11 hits in his last 9 games, including 3 home runs and 9 RBIs. There's a bouncer to third. Big hop for Ramirez, and 2 quick outs. So Carrasco on his game. Fans, on Friday we invite you to join the O's Zone Rally team presented by Budweiser from 6 to 8 p.m. at Nick's Fish House in Baltimore. It'll feature former Oriole outfielder Larry Bigby and the Oriole Bird. For a complete schedule and rally info, Orioles.com/rallies for all the information. That youngster likes his Dylan Bundy t-shirt, even though it looks a little big on him.
He'll grow into it. Yeah.
Adam Jones struck out his first at bat. I was talking to Scott Coolball during batting practice about hitters when they're trying to find their zone and what's the approach. And you know, Jim, you and I have talked about it with Adam. That very often is going to right field. He's talking with Craig Gentry on the bench, Scott. And Coolball said that the one thing he stresses upon the hitters is when you see the ball better, you're able to slow it down and make a decision later, and that gives you a better chance to put it somewhere. And with Adam, who is a very good opposite field hitter, in fact, he has 21 hits to right field. He has been doing that more on this homestand. Of course, now he pulls it, and there's Lindor, off balance throw, and Adam is safe. And that'll be an infield hit. Boy, Lindor almost got another one.
Yeah, maybe your grass a little bit wet with the rain. He gets to it, as we saw last night, about as quickly as anybody in right here. But this throw offline. Last night, Manny beat out one for one of his 4 hits. And there's just kind of a heave. Not exactly the Derek Jeter jump and throw. A little pirouette. And then Santana's going to flag it down or glide to and tag him out. He couldn't do that. Then you get a little bit lucky because it doesn't go into the camera well. Right. Doesn't go into the dugout. Otherwise you'd have in a 0-0 game here in the 4th, a runner at second.
So Adams' 13th infield hit, and he is on with 2 down for Trumbo. But one of the things Coolball said as a hitter that you should strive for every pitch is to keep your head still. If your head is moving, you don't see the ball as well, and you're probably not going to succeed or have as good a chance to succeed.
Well, that's why a lot of hitters, I mean, if they go into a crouch, they try to stay in the crouch, so they stand tall. I mean, look at Mark Trumbo. Today he walked up, he said, enough with these mechanics. Not worrying about mechanics. And I said, no, you got to worry about Carrasco because he can pitch. I said, but at the end of the day, all the good hitters, and of course he would say, listen, you know, the great hitters, they know where the bat head is. And they're able to somehow manipulate a pitch that, in this case, 95 or 83, dipping and diving and whatever, and be able to somehow get the barrel of the bat to the ball. I mean, they have now the new number. Who throws the most barreled balls? Who hits the most barreled balls? And that's hard to do.
It's a soft line drive to center field, and that's going to fall for a base hit. So that's a really good job on 0-2, just putting it in play up the middle.
So I told him, I said, just, you know what, all your good swings, And whether we're talking 47 home runs or 34 home runs is when you can somehow figure out how to get the barrel of the bat to the ball. You're big, you're strong, you're smart, you're diligent, you work hard. And right here, that's a good slider. I don't overswing. It wasn't a home run pitch. So what did I do? Hit a single to center. And sometimes, and it's not like he's slumping, because he had some big game hits over the weekend. So there's a couple of breaking balls that were up, contrary to the first 3 innings, and the Orioles have taken advantage of it.
Roberto Perez out to the mound. This is the first time tonight the Orioles have had a runner at second base, so they have to change the signs.
I don't think they didn't even have a runner at second on Monday night off Kluber. I don't think there was a runner in scoring position that night.
Well, let's see. He gave up 3 hits, and they all came with 2 down in innings.
And he pitched a complete game. Corey, that was not fair.
So Mancini now with a chance. Check swing. They appeal at first. He didn't go.
No.
1-0.
See, he started, but the bat hit. And you know why Mancini's a good bat hit? If you want to go back to what you talked about, Kuhlbach. I mean, right there. I mean, it's close. But he doesn't move his head. Usually, what are you trying to do? You're trying to hit the back of the ball. Well, if a still head, it's a little bit easier to do that. And of course, what is Carrasco? He wants to get him out on his front foot, maybe out in front a little bit. And the other thing for Trey, he's tough to defense because I don't even know if he has an idea where he's going to hit it. If you go in, sometimes he pulls it, pitch him away. We've seen him hit home runs over the last week. One in Chicago for 3 runs, solo off of Lance Lynn on Sunday. He's as apt to hit it over the first base bag as he is over the third base bag. So tough to defense.
2-0 the count. And there's a strike. Well, you look at his hits, and Trey has 58 hits, 23 to left field, 21 to right field. So almost the same number to the opposite field. And then he has 14 straight up the middle. So he is probably the best foul line to foul line hitter and most consistent foul line to foul line hitter in this lineup. There's a tapper out in front of the plate. Perez has it. That's a fair ball. And on that real good pitch, Carrasco gets out of a jam. So the O's have 2 hits after 2 down, and they strand 2 here in the 4th.
T-Mobile. Well, Chris Sale won his 9th game last night. Wanted to pitch a complete game. Retired 19 straight Royals from the 3rd through the 9th. And then he said, I'll never settle. When you start settling, you'll get complacent. When you get complacent, you suck. That's not my style. Well, he's won 9. He's a #1 pitcher. And he's not taking anything for granted. That's the drive. They were very fortunate. Well, of course, they had 4 young players. They go out and get a #1 guy. They only had the #1 prospect in baseball, Yoan Moncada. They had to give up for him.
Strike one to Austin Jackson, and then today Kansas City in a day game beat the Red Sox.
Yeah, the Yankees have what are they doing tonight? They've lost 7 in a row, and they certainly want to change that with all kinds of injuries up in New York. So they're on one of those little struggles.
And he got him. 3-pitch strikeout.
Yeah, that's the first time he's really used the slider. It's been mostly splitter. So, boy, what a good pitchers. They can get you out a number of different ways. We've seen Carrasco do that. So Edwin Jackson, you know, the first time Austin, he hit the ball pretty well to right field. This time on a fastball, you make a nice adjustment, you get ahead, and a very, very good slider.
Here's the rookie Bradley Zimmer. He's got a 4-game hitting streak, struck out his first at bat. It's going to be foul down the left side. Well, here's the Orioles starters, Jim, and the most quality starts. Of course, Dylan Bundy well ahead of the field. Kevin Gausman, 4 quality starts in his 15 starts. This is 16th. And as a staff, and this has been the problem with the inconsistency, just 29 quality starts as a staff, the 5th fewest in the American League. So you don't get deep enough in games, you don't pitch well enough to get deep enough in games, and it has an effect on the bullpen, and we've seen it.
Right. Well, you get, you know, we saw Darren O'Day do a simulated game today. He said he feels pretty good. Britton, he's going to go back out and pitch. He's felt great after pitching 1 inning last night.
Line drive, base hit to center field. So Zimmer on an 0-2 pitch gets on. He extends his hitting streak to 5 in a row.
Well, that's it. And again, I'm not complaining about Kevin Gausman because he's been terrific tonight, but he's not happy about where that pitch was. You know, Zimmer saying, boy, I really have to scuffle. And a lot of times the difference is, do you get a good pitch to hit 0-2? On that one, a little bit too much of the plate, and he takes advantage of it.
So a 1-out base runner. Here's Roberto Perez coming up.
Yeah, Zimmer, I mean, he's a rookie, but he has great speed. But can he steal bases? That's a big question. And see what kind of lead he'll get over at first base. They don't run a lot on Gaz. He's quick to the plate.
Strike on the corner.
And Perez looks back. He says, we want that pitch.
Yeah, he won't complain too much. And let's see, Zimmer, he's a pretty good base runner, 6 out of 7 since coming up.
And he's getting the bigger lead. Yeah, they led the American League in stolen bases last year. I mean, they're not running quite as much this year, even though they have a lot of collective team speed. There's Terry Francona. 94 wins for the Indians last year. But then again, it seems everywhere Terry goes, other than the Phillies, they win. A couple of world championships with the Red Sox.
Go to first and Zimmer back. You saw in our StatCast that he was out to 11. And the StatCast folks tell us that anything farther than 10 feet is considered a very good lead.
Well, yeah, think of me. He's a big guy. I mean, he's only 6'5", so 2.5 strides. That's your normal lead. If you're a base runner. So that's probably what 2.5 right there. And now he's going to stretch it. So make him stop. Another pretty good breaking ball. Maybe a little bit more inside, but he swings right over. Yeah, that's actually pretty hittable, but he misses it. Doesn't get to play a lot.
The ball and 2 strikes on the number 9 hitter Roberto Perez. Line drive and a base hit to center field, and that's going to get down and get all the way to the wall. Zimmer can fly. He's going to score. Coming around third to the plate, and there's an RBI double on a 1-2 pitch by Perez, and the Indians get a 1-0 lead.
So you get ahead of Zimmer, 0-2 down the middle. He gets a base hit. 1-2 to Perez, and he gets another fastball in the middle of the plate. Didn't want to throw it here, but it ends up there. So again, not on the corner, not in. Boy, he's all over this, and he hits it so hard that Kyung-Soo Kim can't even cut it off, and then with Zimmer's speed, it's going to score easily.
113 miles an hour off the bat as he got a fastball and didn't miss it. So Zimmer The 1-out single he scores, and now Gausman looks to minimize the damage here. Top of the lineup now with a runner at second base. Francisco Lindor at the plate.
Well, Monday night when they scored 12 runs, and what did Dylan Bundy in was not only did he, he got some balls in the middle of the plate, but they were all doubles. 4 doubles in that 4-run 4th inning, and one of them was a hanging changeup to Austin Jackson. It was 1 for 19, but against this team, the way they're swinging the bat, you cannot pitch in the middle of the plate. That's not in the middle of the plate. That's a great changeup, split fingered fastball down and away.
So 0-1 on Lindor, who was hitless tonight. Well, 2-1 to count on Lindor. Runner at second, and run in for the Indians. Pulled sharply foul down the line. Count will even 2-2. So what do you do when you haven't been in a game for a couple of days? If you're
Towel drill.
Miller, you do the towel drill.
Yeah, he was out on the field to kind of course he played here for what 2.5 months. 2014, I believe.
Mm-hmm. The division title year. That ball's hit deep to center field. Adam Jones is back, and that ball is gone. It's into the bleachers. And just like that, it is 3-0 Cleveland.
Well, a series of mislocated fastballs here in the 5th. It started with Zimmer on a 0-2 pitch. Perez with a 1-2 pitch and a 2-2 pitch fastball right back into the middle of the plate. That's the 2-seamer that and it just ends up, and you can see that's all you need to know right there. He knows you can't afford to do that.
He almost hit the Oriole bird. Visiting fans out there in the bleachers. There's a strike to Kipnis, still only 1 down. 14th home run allowed by Gausman, a 3-run inning for the Indians. Another base hit the other way. Four consecutive hits after a strikeout of Jackson to begin the inning. Roger McDowell coming out for a chat. Of course, the Orioles, the pitching struggles. They have the highest ERA in the league at 5.06. And you look at the breakdown in their 70 games that they've completed. They've had 33 starts of 6 innings or more, but they've had 37 starts less than 6 innings. And they've also only had 13 where the starter's been able to go 7 or more.
Well, that's why you've seen a multitude of long men going back and forth because of that.
And as a result, the Orioles have had 16 different pitchers win a game this year.
Well, look at that number. Now, this is the 3rd time through the order. And yet he was actually pretty efficient. But I mean, they're all on fastballs. They were all in the middle of the plate.
And Kipnis took off and got such a big jump. Joseph doesn't even throw.
Well, it's very easy, to lose your concentration and your focus when you're getting hit around a little bit, and that's what's happening. So, again, it's like you just threw a double. That single to left became a double. And for the Indians, you've got to give them credit. They took advantage of it.
Fastball for a strike. Ramirez singled his last at bat, extending his hitting streak to 9 in a row. Now he's looking for another hit to extend his streak to 9 consecutive multi-hit games.
Yeah, he's hitting what, about maybe almost 48 points higher average wise than with runners in scoring position, but not in this month. And he hit a good pitch in left field. He took a fastball down and away. It wasn't one of the ones here in the fifth that were ended up in the middle of the plate. It was on the corner and he just went with it. 3-2 count. But all those 3-2 counts got the pitch count into the much higher than Kevin Gausman wanted.
Well, the Orioles had back-to-back hits with 2 down, bottom of the 4th, but then Carrasco made a real good pitch on Mancini, hit a tapper out in front of the plate for the final out. Now the Indians come back and put 3 on the board here in the 5th. Foul back, count goes full, 3-2. Well, 3-2, big pitch coming with Encarnacion on deck. And another foul ball to prolong an at bat. Johnny Hart beginning to get loose.
I just recalled yesterday from AAA Norfolk. And Ramirez, he just puts the bat on the ball. That was 98. That ball was up. It had good life. It wasn't in the middle of the plate. It just flicked it foul.
And he got him. That's a big out for Gausman. 2 men down.
Well, you could see Caleb Joseph. I mean, pats the glove a couple of times just to make sure you get the ball in. Look at the glove. Now he misses a little bit, but the other side of the plate. The scouting report says he doesn't do this. He's not comfortable doing it, but he does it here, and it makes a big difference. One of the hotter hitters, American League Player of the Week last year, just struck out on a really quality pitch.
So 8 strikeouts ties his season high. Once before he did that, his career high is 10. Ball 1 to Encarnacion. 0 for 2. He lined out to Jones in center field, struck out. Ball 2. Gausman in his career against Cleveland, outstanding numbers. In fact, his ERA against the Indians, very few appearances, 3 games, 2 starts, 1.72. Gausman has struck out 8 now. He's walked only 1. The 1 walk didn't hurt. But he's allowed 3 runs on 6 hits. 4 of the hits have come this inning.
Good pitch right there. Late call. He might have thought it was inside. Well, he's going to give him. He's going to actually flunk him on this call right here. But that somewhere around the end. So, yep, see the edge of the ball. I mean, that's 17-inch plate we're looking at. And then the ball's 2 inches. It doesn't have to be totally over. The edge can be on it, and that was.
Fouls back the fastball, so 2-2. Encarnacion, his first season with the Indians, he turned down $80 million to stay in Toronto, signed for $60 million in Cleveland.
So he's not a math major. What can we say? Okay, so again, look at this. I mean, 28 pitches, which is a lot, but 20 strikes. It's just that 4 of them were in the middle of the plate, and they were able to get on of them. 1 a 2-run home run. And that is very much close. That was probably a little bit inside, but it's a breaking ball that kind of backs up, but very close to where the splitter was caught. You can see the target. He misses all the way across the plate, and again the ball just inside. Not by much. just barely missed the corner.
3-2 on Encarnacion, who is the 7th Indian to bat this inning. And he got him to get out of it. So Gausman gets the strikeout. That's a new season high, but the Indians get 3. RBI double by Perez, 2-run home run by Lindor. By Ocean City. Put your vacation days to good use in Ocean City. Book now at ococean.com. And by Antwerpen Toyota. Get in the game this season with a new Toyota from Antwerpen Toyota. Kevin Gausman with Caleb Joseph between innings. I guess discussing not necessarily the pitch selection, but where it went.
Well, they know where it went, because it ended up in the middle of the plate, and they were able to get, and they, not the one to Lindor, but the first 2 kind of set up that was, they were on 2-strike pitches, so he didn't execute either where they wanted the fastball, because that's what they were, or they didn't. Maybe they're discussing the fact they need to mix up their pitches a little bit.
So the O's now look to play catch up. They did come back last night. They were down 5-2, eventually won 6-5. Red hot hitter Jonathan Scope leads off, then Kim and Joseph. So Carrasco now with a 3-run lead. Real good off-speed pitch.
Yeah, no disrespect to Josh Tomlin, but he came in last night at 4-8, and Carrasco's 7-3, and there's a reason, because his stuff is electric. So you're going to have to grind it out against him.
And he got him a 3-pitch strikeout.
See, if you go back and look where Perez goes and sits, I mean, he sits exactly where you should with 2 strikes. He's not just putting the glove on the outside corner. Watch him. I mean, he just takes his body, because there's a tendency, not that Carrasco does this, but you throw off the hitter. And when you move your whole body to halves of the plate or on the corner, much easier to focus. Rick Dempsey used to use the glove with the little orange, the Oriole orange circle in it. So first thing you'd see was the glove, and that's important. It gives you a target. That's why it's important for catchers to get the glove up early, so you have something to throw to.
He wants it down. He hit the glove and he got the call. Kim doesn't agree. Looked like it was low.
No, right to the glove, and then he gets down on 2 knees and just throws a little breaking ball, and you don't want to be hitting against this guy 0-2. He can kind of like the driveway when you used to throw the wiffle ball, make it do whatever you wanted to do. I mean, you could do that and you end up being a broadcaster. So just imagine if you could do it up here with a baseball. So he's got good stuff, and he's tough. So. And for Kevin Gausman, that you had your bad inning. That's it. There's the slider. So curveball early and then a slider in. A little Corey Kluber move right here in between 93. And he throws enough inside fastball, so out of that arm slot you think it may be a fastball, and to hit the ball, the fastball up and in, you got to hit it about 2 feet out in front, and then the breaking ball has the same appearance. You don't pick up the spin. That's why you get a lot of strikeouts.
That's 8 strikeouts, 2 Ks here in the 5th. Caleb Joseph will foul it off. Carrasco has struck out at least 1 batter in each of the 5 innings, including Caleb in the 3rd. No balls in the air tonight for the Orioles. He's getting strikes on each side of the plate. He's getting them up in the zone. He's getting them down in the zone. So he's working all the quadrants.
Wait a minute. Pedro Martinez is pitching because that's how he got to the Hall of Fame.
See Perez saying keep it down. High fly ball left center field. Zimmer and Jackson. And Jackson, the veteran, takes charge. He has it for the out. O's go 3 up, 3 down in the 5th.
Back early on, great splitter. There's another one on his way to 9 strikeouts. And then in the 5th inning, single, double, and then the home run to Francisco Lindor. Makes it 3-0 on a series of 2-strike fastballs. And those are your Geico highlights. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com to see how much you could save.
Well, fans enjoying the cuisine here at the ballpark. And Gausman back to work in the 6th. And ball 1 to Chisenhall. Santana and Jackson will follow.
That is pitch 100 in Buck Showalter, and Roger McDowell, pitching coach, looking on. I mean, you could see 4th and 5th, 23 and 30. Other than that, maybe a little bit more, but less than he has been throwing. He was at 19 an inning, and that pitch a little bit low as he goes 3-0. So Donnie Hart again getting up and already loose in the bullpen just in case.
A 3-0 on Chisenhall. And a 4-pitch walk to begin the 6th. The leadoff base runner for the Indians. Hey fans, remember, anytime the O's score 4 runs or more, you win free McDonald's Chicken McNuggets. You can download the McDonald's app today. It's available at Baltimore area McDonald's. So Gausman has now walked 2. He's allowed 6 hits, 8 base runners, and 3 have scored. Santana is hitless. He has struck out and grounded out to Mancini at first. All 3 Indians runs in the 5th inning. RBI double by the number 9 batter Perez, and then a 2-run home run by the leadoff hitter Lindor. Indians have out hit the Orioles 6-3. So 1-1 the count. The most extra base hits since 2004, and Carlos Santana is 3rd in Indians history since that date. Hafner 413, Grady Sizemore 398, and then Santana. A little bit low. Santana's not going to chase.
Yep. Yeah, it looks a little weary because and again 104 pitches, 105 pitches when you're getting shut out, and you had a pitcher's duel going into the 5th. It wears on you, on your mind, and again pitches have more import when each one might mean the ball game. Not missing by much there, but enough. 4 really non-competitive pitches to Chisenhall, all out of the zone, out of his hand.
Donnie Hart, he's ready. There's a right-handed batter on deck, and then a lefty Zimmer follows Jackson.
Well, this year Donnie Hart has gotten righties out better than lefties, which was not, I don't think, the design or the good pitch right there. Well, actually, I was wrong there. I mean, lefties are hitting 300, righties at 325. So that's last year Donnie Hart, who's getting loose. He dominated lefties.
A full count on Santana with Chisenhall at first. Just did get a piece.
Right out of the glove.
So another 7-pitch at bat. Santana about to see the 7th pitch. See the Orioles in the shift. And because it's a double play situation, Scope is on the dirt and not out there on the right field grass. Popped it up. Caleb near the screen, makes the catch. Outstanding play and concentration from Caleb Joseph.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, we talked about Santana very rarely swings at balls. What he does there, hits a splitter that stays up, and then I guess about the only place that's not padded, right behind home plate. So catches it, and then right there. And
whoa. So you want to be close to the action, huh?
And of course, he uses it's kind of like wrestling. You use the ropes to get back, just in case they were running.
Austin Jackson takes a strike.
Well, this is going to be the last inning because of the pitch count for Kevin Gausman, but he would love to make a pitch here and maybe get a ground ball, get 2, get out of the inning. Give the Orioles a chance to come back against Carlos Carrasco.
Just missed. 1-1. Gausman 26-37 in his career, 11 below 500. Number 4 overall pick in 2012. Skied to right. It's playable for Seth Smith. 2 down, back to first base goes Chisenhall. Fans, Chris and Jill Davis will host Crushes Homers for Hearts, benefiting the Pediatric Heart Program of the University of Maryland Children's Hospital on Thursday, July 13th, right here at Oriole Park. Now, attendees will watch a private Orioles team workout and then participate in a home run derby and more. To learn more, visit Orioles.com/homers for Hearts. So Gausman leaves with a lefty coming up. We get Hart in the 6th.
Track, so he will pitch actually pretty well tonight. I mean, really a great splitter tonight. Had good fastball, but only three batters in the 5th inning. You know, Zimmer and then Perez and then Lindor kind of did him in, but 9 strikeouts. I mean, a little bit of everything, splitters and fastballs, and able to just getting out pitched by Carlos Carrasco. And now and those are the numbers for Kevin Gausman. He will depart. The pitching change brought to you by Jiffy Lube. Jiffy Lube stores now do brake services. Stop in and let Jiffy Lube perform a free brake inspection today as Donnie Hart comes on.
Well, Donnie at 4.32. He last pitched for the Orioles on June the 6th. He was sent down to AAA, and he said it actually was a beneficial time for him working down there with Mike Griffin on mechanics. Now face Bradley Zimmer. Calling card throw to first. And Buck Showalter before the game talking about the young relievers who have been given a chance. Of course, Donnie given a chance last year and was with the team until being sent down. And there's the adjustment period. Once hitters see you and they know what you try to do, then you have to adjust back to them. So do you have something else in your arsenal to get these hitters out? Miguel Castro there in the back, his first big league win last night. Comebacker. Donnie Hart with 2 down will take the easy out at first. So nicely done. That ends the inning. Leadoff walk at a man left. We have to the bottom of the 6th. 3-0 Cleveland. Wrap up the 4-game series with the Indians. It'll be Wade Miley on the mound for the O's. Mike Clevenger will be recalled to go for the Indians. Our coverage on Masson begins at 6:30 with O's Extra presented by Southwest. Game coverage at 7 o'clock. We've got all the access you need right here on Masson.
So Miley coming off a win, his third against the Cards, got him a bunch of runs, 8 of them on Sunday, and then Clevenger. Orioles saw him last year. What did he do in AAA last year? He won 11-1, and then he got one of the doubleheader games. They had played a couple of ball games up in Minnesota when they swept the Twins over the weekend. He pitched well, 4 innings in one of them.
Well, Giannis leads off. This is only his second at bat. 8 of the 9 Indians have already batted 3 times.
Well, he's been very efficient and very good. You can see the low pitch count. He averages at 15. And that is very, very efficient. So we haven't, here at Game 3, you haven't seen Andrew Miller, haven't seen Cody Allen. Of course, the first game was 12-0. Last night was 6-5.
The Orioles took the lead in the 7th before they could get to Miller.
So if you're Terry Francona, the back end of your bullpen is very, very well rested.
And since he's carrying 8 relievers at the moment, he's been able to spread the wealth. They have the best bullpen in the league, a 2.56 ERA. Giannis swings through it. 2-2. Paul 0 for 7 now with the Orioles. This is his 5th game appearance on the year. The combined batting average against Carrasco, 208. And he gets Giannis.
Yeah, there's the slider. That's a good one. And again, as we mentioned, lefties the more home runs, a little bit higher average. Righties at 199 coming in, and he just throws it where the glove is. Yeah, I was talking to Mickey Callaway, the pitching coach for the Indians, and I said, so you sent Carrasco to the bullpen, and that's not the first time pitchers have had to do that. And then I said, what happened? He said, well, he found his natural arm slot, which was a little bit lower than where he was, and then we made him more athletic. So in other words, kind of if you walk slowly, your arms don't swing. If you want to swing your arms a little faster, just walk faster. They'll naturally do that. So he was very precise and was trying to be perfect. So they made him more athletic, and really, when he's healthy, the rest is history. He had good stuff and no command.
Well, the 9 strikeouts now are his season high. And there's a base hit for Seth Smith. He goes against the shift. So a 1-out single, and Seth Smith is on. For every Orioles walk, CareFirst Blue Cross Blue Shield contributes $50 to support the American Diabetes Association. The Orioles have drawn 181 walks for a total of $9,050. CareFirst Blue Cross Blue Shield encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and a more active lifestyle.
Yeah, well, the Orioles come in and 12th in strikeouts. Tampa Bay, Texas, Oakland with more. So they do strike out a lot. They also hit home runs. In fact, they have 3 or more home runs. They're second behind Tampa in the American League with 17 times they've done that. So you need to do a little bit of what Cleveland did. Get a guy on, get a couple of guys on. They got a 1-run double and a 2-run home run, all in a series of 3 hitters.
Misses the slider, 0-2.
Yeah, Manny has not gotten any pitches like he got last night to hit, and that's to Carrasco credit.
And Carrasco ahead 0-2 with Smith at first and 1 down. This time he lets it go outside, and We got the call. 2-2. Excuse me, 1-2. Carrasco's career high in strikeouts as a starter is 15. With the 9 here tonight as a season high. Check swing. He went too far, says home plate umpire Ryan Blakely.
Yeah, he called it himself. Didn't even check. I think because he's, he's watching. I mean, he's kind of watching where the pitch is, but watch him look right at where the bat went. And you could see how far out in front it went. Man, he gets it back in a hurry. A little late call. I think he would have felt a little bit more comfortable if Adam Amari down at first might have helped him out, but he never asked for help. To strike out number 10. I mean, all you had to do, and again, it's hard to simulate, but is watch Corey Kluber. He was that good on Monday, and how did he get a lot of those strikeouts? Sliders. And what do these two guys have in common? They're strikes throwers. Carrasco throws a little bit harder, maybe not as much movement, but they both have good breaking balls and good secondary pitches.
Ball one outside to Adam Jones.
And there's 98. Yeah, we were told by one of the advanced scouts he has seen him throw in the high 90s.
Broken back ground ball to Lindor. He will flip to Kipnis for the force there on Smith, and that ends the inning. Base hit, 1 left. We'll head to the 7th. The Indians have the lead. Very adept at not only catching foul pop-ups, but pop-ups near the screen. This was in New York on June the 9th. He throws the mask, stays with it, and against the screen, he's able to make the grab there. So that was June 9th. And then tonight, last inning, in fact, Carlos Santana up. He follows the ball, throws the mask, goes back as far as he needs to, and then against the screen, he makes the catch. So nicely done by Caleb Joseph. That is not an easy play, and he does it as well as anybody. So Donnie Hart will face Roberto Perez. He got the final out in the 6th. Outside 1-0. Perez, big hit to get the first run in.
Yeah, real big on a fastball that I don't think Kevin Gausman wanted to get where he did, which was kind of a 1-2 fastball that he smoked into left center field. With Zimmer on first, it was an easy run scored on the double. Yeah, so for Donnie Hart, I mean, he can get righties out. He's going to have to establish his changeup, and good. Last year he primarily pitched against lefties. This year, because of injuries and lack of depth in the Oriole bullpen, had to face more righties than lefties.
2-1 the count on Perez. Good off speed pitch. 2-2. Donnie has never faced any of these Indians hitters. He became a very valuable part to the bullpen last year, the team that went to the wild card game. Learned a lot from the veterans in the bullpen. Orioles hope to get Darren O'Day back on Friday in Tampa. He pitched his simulated game today and everything went well. Slow breaking ball fouled off. Buck Showalter said the hope is that Darren reports to work tomorrow feeling good. No setback the day after he pitched, and then make the trip to Tampa and get activated on Friday. There he is with Alan Mills.
You know, his plan was, he said, ideally, he said, I'd like to do a simulated game, and then if I did get activated, not to have to pitch in a one-run game, because it's hard just with one outing, especially when you've had shoulder problems last year and then earlier this year and then a recurrence of it. So he wants to make sure that when he does come back, even though he doesn't want to prolong it, that he's able, number one, to pitch on the long haul, and otherwise maybe get him another rehab or another simulated game and back off for 2 days.
Well, he could go to Delmarva with Zach. We could each pitch an inning. 7 pitches just outside, ball 3.
Well, you know, it's funny, when I was talking to Zach Britton down on the field, who had that first rehab, he said what was exciting, this ball just misses on the corner, but he said my first pitch of the game, he said the hitter swung and missed, and so did my catcher. So apparently threw the first ball right by both. And that's when you know you're throwing well.
Another foul ball.
Well, you come to this level, and whether you throw 88 or 98, Donnie Hart's run around 88 to 90, maybe, a little bit below sometimes, depending, because he really did pitch a lot early on. Because of injuries or whatever, I think he could borderline. And Buck Showalter doesn't do this very often. You got to pitch more than probably is good for you.
Strike 3 called at the knees.
Yeah, so away, and Perez thinks, well, did it really catch the inside corner? I think it just froze him. He's looking away, and the ball's right, and then he sweeps across because of the sidearm, almost underhand, catches the inside part of the plate.
Nice job of presenting there by Caleb.
Yeah, the umpire. Blakeney going, I don't think I have a choice but to call this a strike.
Francisco Lindor will bat right-handed against Hart. Takes it low. Lindor's 2-run home run in the 5th made a 1-0 game a 3-0 game. His 35th extra base hit, his 14th home run. This one to Adam Jones in center field. Adam backpedaling, has a play, and 2 down. Well, Donnie Hart, one of the 4 pitchers to get their first major league win this year. The Orioles, because of all the pitchers up and down, have had 16 different pitchers win a game. That is tied with Texas for the most in the American League. The White Sox, Astros, Angels, and Mariners all have 15 different pitchers with at least 1 win. Well, Miguel Castro last night became number 16 as he got the win in relief, his first big league win. The 2 down. Donnie Hart has retired all 3 he's faced. Here's Kipnis. Strike 1.
Yeah, I think in the way that Miguel Castro did it, we talked about it in the opening, to load the bases up to set up the double play, struck out Gomes, and then get Zimmer, who's having a very nice series, to ground out to first. A lot of confidence in the ability to throw strikes.
Donnie Hart gloves. And a 3-up, 3-down inning. 7th inning stretch at Camden Yards. Birds come to bat, down by 3. Seventh inning stretch, the Hyundai Better Than Ever sales event with the best total savings on select models in Hyundai's history. It's going on now at your Hyundai dealer. Here's Mark Trumbo to lead off in the seventh with Carrasco in command. He's allowed only 4 hits. But the Orioles still in this, just down by 3.
Well, what he's also done is be able to get the first batter out in every inning. The amazing thing when you look at the numbers for this Indian staff is that all their starters are over 70 percentile of retiring the first batter in an inning, which is an amazing number.
Good take, ball 2. Marcus singled in 2 trips.
Well, what you want to do if you're the Orioles, you have a very, very good bullpen. Get them up. And that means you get Carrasco in a little bit of trouble here in the 7th.
Couple of hot hitters follow Trumbo, Mancini, then Scope. Carrasco's out of Venezuela, signed with the Phillies when he was 16 years old back in 2003. Ball 3. Carrasco averages about 2.5 walks per game. And striking out about 9, and he has 10 strikeouts in this game.
How about only averaging 6.64 hits per 9 innings? And then we saw 98 last inning right there. If you're Mark Trumbo, you think you're going to get a fastball, and then it's 96 in the 7th. Not a lot of pitches, a lot of strikes. 83 pitches, 27 strikes, 56 for strikes, and he had 27 balls.
Just did get
almost
a piece.
hit that out of the glove.
He almost hit the glove.
Well, that's Jacoby Ellsbury did it, what, about 13, 14 times last year?
Yeah, he's
close to 30 in his career.
He's the expert at it.
Well, he's also on the disabled list. He's getting apparently closer to being able to come back and play for the Yankees.
And Trumbo has a base hit up the middle.
Barrel, bad head. So figure out where it is. You know he's going to throw you a strike. Now you don't know what it is, but 3-run lead, you don't. So this is a 106-mile ground ball. And all he does is stay on top of it and hit it right back up the middle.
Scattered some grass there and almost took a divot.
Scorched earth policy by Mark Trumbo.
Well, here's Trey Mancini, who is 1 out of 2. Right back over Jonathan Scope's head, who's on deck. Mancini 17 for his last 43.
Yeah, we were talking today, and he's well aware when you face Kluber and him and even Josh Tomlin last night, change in speeds and whatever. I mean, you're seeing some of the best pitching on the planet, and they're adjusting, and they're throwing you all different kinds of pitches. You never saw the quality and the command at the minor league level. You know, they look at films, they say, oh, he likes it out over the plate. Let's see if he can hit it inside. And good pitchers can pitch to both sides of the plate. So he's held his own, too. But there will be nights where you just don't get a lot of pitches to hit. Monday night was one of them. And right here we've seen him, and hopefully he'll be able to do that, is just try to scuffle when you get the 2 strikes. Make contact, put it in play somewhere.
Well, he's had a .395 clip in his last 12 games, including tonight. 3 home runs and 8 RBIs, and he's had a very good month run production wise. For Mancini in June, 5 home runs and 14 RBIs. 1-2 the count with Trumbo at first. 2-2.
Yeah,
and again, he won't chase.
Well, and out of his hand, they were both balls, and that's been unusual. So I'm sure that Terry Francona will notice that. Same with Mickey Callaway, and they'll probably get somebody up in the bullpen. And again, it's been a tough game for him, as good as he's been, because they haven't gotten him a lot of runs.
Line drive, base hit right center field. Mancini going with the pitch. They was down 0-2 in the count. Got it even and a base hit. So both Trumbo and Mancini with hits to begin this inning. That gets the tying run to the plate with nobody down.
Yeah, this one hangs. Not a lot of hangers today, so it's up. And again, you could see him. I mean, you know, they say you don't see the back of the ball, but you're trying to hit the back. But he keeps his head down. And now all of a sudden you get the tying run to the plate.
And it is Jonathan Schoop, who has had a scorching red hot month of June. And nobody down here in the 7th. Well, last night it was the 7th inning. The Orioles broke the tie. Here they're trying to get it tied. Jonathan is hitless tonight. He bounced into a double play to end the 2nd.
Yeah, he's only seen Carrasco 5 times. To this point, yet to get a hit.
Last night he went deep, and it was a no doubt about it shot. 3 home runs, 6 RBIs on the homestand for Jonathan.
Yeah, but against Carrasco, you'd love to hit a home run, but you have to think up the middle, and there is Andrew Miller.
Doesn't chase. 1-1.
Yeah, Jonathan saying last night he got a little anxious. He said, I got to take a deep breath. I got to relax. I can't swing a pitcher's pitch early on. So, you know, again, a young hitter, as he gets into the 1,500 at bat range, understanding what he can do and what he needs to do. So all of a sudden Carrasco not with the command he's had for the first 6 innings. And Mickey Callaway, I mean, he's kind of poised to come out and talk to him because they see this. Mickey's a very good pitching coach, and any of the major league pitching coach would say this is not the same guy. So how do you feel? Let's calm down. Let's take a step back. Now the good news for the Orioles is Schoop can with 1 swing. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have to hit a home run. He can do what Perez did, would hit that ball up the gap and get a couple of runs in. And then put pressure on their bullpen, even though it's the best in baseball.
So Jonathan with the big smile there as Andrew Miller gets loose. He looked over towards the end of the bench where Adam Jones and Manny are. So one of them must have said something to him. So he gets the count in his favor, 2-1 after falling behind, 0-1. A lot of room in the right center gap. Zimmer is shallow in center field.
Really shallow.
Yep. Swings for a slider, 2-2.
And again, that's back to pretty much the way he was the first 6 innings.
This is only the 2nd chance all night that the Orioles have had with a runner in scoring position.
Well, if you ever played for Earl Weaver in these situations, he'd be rooting for Jonathan Schoop to get a hit, but the last thing he'd want to do is hit a ground ball and get 2. So he would say hit a home run, pop up, strike out, but do not hit one on the ground at one of their guys, and they can turn the double play really well.
And a base hit in the left field. Trumbo got a late start. He will be held.
Yeah, well, they play very shallow, Jim, and that ball hit so hard. Good start, bad start. They're going to hold him up. So take a look right here. His command may be waning. Perfect pitch. Out of the hand, a ball. Out of the hand, really a ball. And then you get a good pitch, and then you get a hanger. And it stays up, and Jonathan Schoop doesn't miss these kind of pitches. Strong enough, big enough. Really good breaking ball, and that's going to get him out of the game.
So 3 consecutive singles to begin the 7th. Andrew Miller coming on for Cleveland.
I'll pitch in 6 innings with the bases loaded, as you can see on the bottom. 95 pitches. Command maybe deserting him, but boy, was he good through the first really the first 6 innings with the 10 strikeouts, no walks. So he will leave it to Andrew Miller. And again, hard throwing lefty. I mean, fastball, slider, any count, and the slider at different speeds. And see, actually, that's kind of strange. Lefties hitting him better than righties. Did give up some runs, 5 runs against the Dodgers when they came to Cleveland. But again, one of the tougher guys to hit. And Joey Rickard's going to pinch hit for Kim.
Trumbo, Mancini, and Scope third to first. Nobody out. Orioles down by 3, have the go-ahead run at the plate.
And of course, what Andrew Miller's about with the 51 strikeouts in 35 2/3 innings.
Popped up, slicing towards the grandstand. And that is, in fact, in the crowd, out of play.
So he doesn't throw as hard as Chris Sale, but he's similar at 6'7". They both have great sliders. They'll both throw them in any count. Sale has a great changeup. Miller doesn't. So Carlos Carrasco, it is in the hand of their bullpen, which is the best in baseball.
Miller has had back-to-back scoreless appearances since allowing the 4 runs to the Dodgers. Ground ball towards third. Ramirez will come home. Out there, throw back to first, not in time. So Ramirez cuts off the run, now 1 down.
Yeah, it's very hard to double up Joey Rickard. Probably had a better chance 5 to 4 to 3, but he says, okay, I'll just cut the run off. He doesn't even hesitate. And then Perez with trying to throw out Rickard, but he scampers down there to keep him loaded. So a nice pitch by Andrew Miller right on the fist of Joey Rickard.
Here's Caleb Joseph, who is 0 for 2. He has struck out and flied out to left. Caleb has seen Miller just twice. He is 0 for 2 against him. Bounce foul.
Well, he didn't give up a run, in his first 18 appearances. Got all the way to May 15th, where he gave up a run against Tampa Bay, inning and 2/3 innings. So he pitched more than 1 inning in that game. And Zimmer comes even shallower in center field.
Swings for the breaking ball, 0-2.
Well, again, the break is different. I mean, he can throw some, start him outside. He'll throw one that you think is going to be on the plate, and it can almost hit your back foot. So the famous back foot slider that Ron Guidry had, Sparky Lyle, Mickey Lolich, Steve Carlton. And see, that one stayed outside. But again, sometimes he'll throw it off the plate and he'll backdoor it. But at 6 and 7, and he was talking today, he went to the slide step. You can see there's hardly any leg kick. And he said what it does is it times up everything. At 6'7", had all kinds of problems when he first came up, syncing up his windup. So he simplified it and became one of the dominant relievers in baseball.
On the check swing, he's called out.
And there's the slider.
That's a big out for Miller.
Well, this is what first base umpire, and you can see how far out the bat head went. Was trying to hold up. And Ruben Tejada's going to come in as going to the bench here in the 7th.
Well, Tejada didn't start tonight. He had been starting since JJ got hurt, but Giannis got the start. Paul 0 for 2 tonight with a couple of strikeouts. Tejada is 1 for 9 on the homestand. And he has never faced Andrew Miller. So it was bases loaded, nobody down. Now bases loaded with 2 down. And the O's have yet to score. Breaking ball for a strike on 1.
Well, that's why they gave up 4 players to get him. The Yankees The Orioles traded for him. As you take a look, here's another slider, and that's the back door. And unable to sign him. He went to the Yankees, had a year and a half of great play. They traded him to the Indians for 4 players. And then they helped the Indians to get to the postseason. And of course, everybody talking about Terry Francona saying, well, you don't have to use him in the 8th inning. You can use him in the 5th or the 6th. And that's how they got all the way to Game 7.
Yeah, use them wherever the rally is to extinguish the rally.
Because you do have a closer. Their closer, and not that he couldn't close, but Cody Allen is the closer here on the Indians.
Ooh.
Wow. Don't know about that pitch.
It's nowhere near.
No. How do you call that pitch? I mean, it's close, but it's outside.
And Miller is adept enough that if he's going to get a call out there, he'll keep going out there.
Well, if you're Ruben Tejada, I mean, he does throw 94, and he throws sliders at all different speeds. They're big sweepers.
And he struck him out. So the Orioles had the bases loaded, nobody down. Miller comes on, and the O's strand them loaded. Through the 16th right here at Oriole Park, and for each game fans are encouraged to bring any non-perishable food item or cash donation to the park to benefit the Maryland Food Bank as part of the 31st annual Orioles Reach Food and Funds Drive presented by Masson and WJZ TV. For tickets, visit Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. Joey Rickard stays in the game. He's in left field. He pinch hit for Hyun-Soo Kim, and Ruben Tejada is at shortstop after pinch hitting for Giannis. So Donnie Hart has faced 4 batters, retired all 4. Here's Jose Ramirez. And that's called a ball. Ramirez, a switch hitter, is 1 out of 3 from the left side tonight. And well outside, so 2-0. Hart came on, got the final out of the 6th, and then 3 up, 3 down in the 7th. Zach Britton over there with Wade Miley and Chris Tillman.
They're probably still shaking their head in wonder at Andrew Miller's job, because that's what he brings to the table.
Well, he is good. He's one of the best, and he got a favorable strike call on a pitch that appeared to bend around the plate. Ball 3.
Yeah, and then you got Ramirez now. They're going to come back, and of course, it doesn't matter what side of the plate he hits from. More home runs left-handed, 8 of the 11, but over 300 both sides.
Strike at the knees, 3-2.
And it's not only their late calls. He thought that ball was low. You know, the umpires, because of the way they get graded, you're looking to call the ball out front. I mean, that's where they grade you. So.
So with that grading system, what happens?
I don't know. Apparently not too much. I mean, the Indians were dying. They did, you know, Curl and Danley. There was a big strike, you know, wide strike zone, and talking to one of the coaches, he said, "Well, he is the 82nd lowest ranked umpire out of the 89 umps, but they're still umpire."
Right.
So I mean, there's always, you know, if you're in a class of umpires, grade class, you know, there are people at the top, and and you're apparently supposed to get something like a 90 to 92 percentile. I mean, you know, whether you're calling the balls, because they do track them now and they can do it. But we see time and time guys have bad nights.
Popped it up to Hada and Manny. Manny calls, and he's got it. So Ramirez a tough out. He's retired, 1 away. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Orioles. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. Here's Jim's buddy Tyler. There's no one getting loose, by the way, behind Donnie Hart. And no one getting loose in the Indians bullpen, so Andrew Miller's going to stay on. Here's Encarnacion. He is hitless tonight. Strike on the corner, and Encarnacion doesn't agree. There have been a lot of looks back at Blackney by both sides tonight, so that gives you an indication that it may be a little bit of a floating zone. Although in fairness to him, most hitters think nothing should be a strike.
Well, you know what, a couple of years Derek Jeter is going to get to the Hall of Fame. He graded every pitch. Willie Randolph did it.
Pedroia does it.
Yep. Well, he does it not to Derek's. Thing was, you know, most umpires say probably Derek was right. Because number 2 didn't do a whole lot of things wrong. Remember George Foster? Hit over 50 home runs. He would actually walk across the kind of the plate and look at the outside corner, and umpires didn't seem to mind. Yeah, I read something also. Having a mind blank here. Country western singer.
Oh yeah, Joe West.
Just what? 5,000 games. Yeah. Congratulations. That's a lot of games.
He umpired his first major league game when he was 23 years old. That is a real early call up to the big leagues for an umpire. So 3-2 on Encarnacion. There have been a lot of 3-2 counts to these Indians hitters. They are 6th in the league in team batting.
Well, and you do have to pitch to them carefully, because they've come in red hot, averaging over their last 7-8 games, eight runs a game. Yeah, they had an off night last night. They only scored 5. Yeah,
bounced into the shift. There's Tejada. And he gets Encarnacion for the out, and 2 men down. Fans, MLB.tv every night on every device. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live, plus get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
How about Donnie Hart, 6 in a row? So what happens when you struggle and you go down, and you know, whether it's mechanical or it's the fact you come to the big leagues for your, at least it was going to be your first initial full year, and you learn what pitches they hit. you know, you learn that if you're in the middle of plate or if you're up in hitters counts that they hit the ball hard, and so you go back down, you realize you know, I mean, he's not an overpowering guy, but it looks like he has a pretty good, you know, he has a two-seamer, he's got all the pitches, but you come back, you make better pitches, and you take your chances, and just, you know, so even to Edwin Encarnacion, he made great pitches, and then he threw him a good changeup, gets him to roll over, and it helps your confidence. And it also helps the confidence of your manager, who's going to call your number and bring you in.
Yeah, the other day when Buck was asked about the, you know, the turnstile, all the transactions and the relievers coming and going, he said, we don't want to do it, but somebody's got to get the job done. And if you get the job done, you're going to stay. So there is the opportunity there.
Well, especially if you can get left-handed hitters out. And that's, we saw the great battles that Donnie Hart had with David Ortiz last year, who, you know, at age 40 had about as good a year as you can ever have. What about 128 home runs? I think he hit 36 home runs, something like 100. What did I say? RBIs. But again, I mean, legendary when you play a team like the Red Sox 19 times. So he was able to, in clutch situations, really control his composure and his stuff.
A 2-out walk, and the first base runner allowed by Donnie Hart. Miguel Castro, who won last night's game, faced two batters. And here's what we're talking about, Jim. The Orioles have already made 98 different transactions, many involving the bullpen. 227 they're on pace for. And look at Norfolk. Every time the Orioles make a move, it affects the Tides, or almost every move. 139 already. They're on pace for 274. That would shatter the most transactions they've ever had in a season. And Bowie a little bit behind, but when Bowie is affected, it's when someone from Norfolk comes up and someone has to go from Bowie to Norfolk to take the place. So there's a domino effect in the system. It sometimes even goes down and affects Frederick, because if somebody leaves Bowie, they may have to send somebody there. But that's all the movement in and out and up and down and just trying to get stable. I mean, they'll get one of the key men back on Friday if all goes well and Darren O'Day comes back.
So what they're trying to do, and the Yankees have helped by losing 7 in a row, is stay somewhere in striking distance. And then for a lot of it, you know, again, you know, if you end up pitching 4 2/3 innings, you need a fresh arm out of the bullpen. Even if you pitch well, you go back down to AAA because your starter didn't do his job. So straighten out the starter's mess, and then a lot of things will fall into place.
So when Darren comes back on Friday, somebody will have to go. And then when Zach comes back, probably the first week of July. He's now on the 60-day DL, so he cannot come back until the 4th of July. He's going to head down to Delmarva, hang out with his brother Buck, who is the Shorebirds hitting coach. So Chisenhall on at first with a 2-out walk. And a ball and a strike on Carlos Santana. Runner goes, pitch is taken. Caleb's throw is high, and he's in there.
Yeah, he did that on Donnie Hart. I don't even think a good throw would have had him. Now again, do you time them to see how quickly do you throw over? I mean, it's all kinds of strides. You know, throw is high. Terry Francona, you'll say, let's have an opportunity. Put another run on the board. Make it easier for my bullpen.
Almost came off the base, but that back foot did stick. Santana took it all the way. Chisenhall gets in the scoring position. Another of the many things that makes this Indians lineup so difficult is they have 3 switch hitters who play every day. So depending on the starter, they'll either have 6 left-handed batters or 6 right-handed batters. There's a bouncer to Manny at third. And he guns at the first to get Santana. So Donnie Hart works around the 2-out walk. Head to the bottom of the 8th. Birds down by 3. And as cute as she is, she should be on the Jumbotron.
Well, maybe it's just the rally dance. Well, you know what? 37. Won't be easy against Andrew Miller. 3.7 runs will be closer to 4. That's what the Orioles need.
Donnie Hart talking with Zach. It's not a bad guy to go to.
No.
Here's Craig Gentry to pinch hit for Seth Smith to get a righty up there. Gentry just rejoined the team yesterday from AAA. Strike at the knees, 0-1.
Yeah, well, how about the last pitch? I mean, slider, and then to Ruben Tejada, 95 up and away, and of course that's what Showalter would say. That he has a very good presentation. There's the slider. So how about, I mean, 51 strikeouts at least coming in, and 35 and 2/3, only 8 walks. But he was talking about, he said, every time I used to have a high leg kick, being 6'7", he said I had no timing. And, you know, he came up again, was a starting pitcher.
Yeah, so Gentry comes back. We need you to bat against the lefty. And oh, by the way, it's Andrew Miller.
Good luck.
And he got him. Real good breaking ball down and in.
Well, it's so sharp, and again, because you're 6'7", and you know you're kind of 3/4 the sidearm, and then look, I mean, he gets the ball way behind him. I mean, look how far he gets, so you don't see it. You see the arm, you see the leg, and then hard to pick up the spin on a good slider. Couldn't do it there. So the spin rate, we're into spin rates. 2,700. So he's about, what, 500 more spins than the average slider.
Manny is 0 for 3, and he falls behind 0-1.
Yeah, he goes, that wasn't a strike. I'm not even going to think about it. Doesn't make any difference. It's already a done deal.
Well, Andrew Miller was drafted by the Tigers in the first round as a starter back in 2006, and then the following year he was sent to the Marlins, part of the package that got Miguel Cabrera to Detroit. He then was traded to Boston in 2010, remained there until the Orioles got him in 2014 for Eduardo Rodriguez, then went to the Yankees as a free agent, signed a 4-year deal. And he was traded in the middle of the second year. So the Indians have him for this year and next year. Manny a bouncer to third. There's Ramirez. 2 down in the Oriole eighth.
Yeah, and he again, it wasn't an easy play, but he just took his time. Didn't get a short hop.
The Yankees got 4 prospects from Cleveland last July 31st.
Well, they just rebuilt their whole minor league system. They got, what, 3 players for Chapman. They got players for Beltran, another 3. Ivan Nova went to the Pirates. They went from like 24th or maybe 18th or 19th in farm system strength to somewhere between, some people, depend who you talk to, 2, 3 to 6. Now they still, and of course Cleveland gets this guy. So prospects, that's exactly what they are. I mean, they're really suspects till they become major league players, and they got a guy that can help them win. Last year, get them to the series. This year, that's important.
He helped the Orioles get to the ALCS. And about that trade, the Red Sox, as Adam hits it wide at first, Miller was late getting over. The race is on, but Miller beats him. That he may have been traded to Detroit, and the Orioles eventually played the Tigers in the division round in that playoffs. Orioles go 3 up, 3 down in the 8th.
I'm just kind of bringing it out of clear air. Kevin Gausman outpitched Carrasco. Well, he doesn't do that, but he actually pitches well. 3 hitters. That was the difference tonight. Used the splitter. He used it. 6 of the 9 strikeouts. Control the drive. He still pitched well enough to win, but run support, big part of baseball. Carrasco, another ace, bit like it. Andrew Miller got him out of the bases loaded situation. Travels well. If he wins today, he'll be 6-1 on the road. And then you can see pitch down in the zone. 7 of the 10 strikeouts were below or around the knees. You kind of anticipate this type of matchup, and there you go. Miguel Castro coming on. So this will be his 7th game. Last night they brought him in. They walked the bases loaded. Carlos Santana to bring him in to get to Yan Gomes, struck him out, got a ground ball off the bat of Bradley Zimmer. The Orioles were able to keep the game at 5-5, and they would go on to win.
Joey Rickard moves from left field to right field. Seth Smith is out of the game, and Gentry, who pinch hit for Smith, now in left. And there's an off-speed pitch on the corner, so the trend from last night continues.
Yeah, and they're not great. I mean, that was a get-me-over slider, and I suppose if he pitches a lot, maybe they'll look for it. But you can throw 94 to 97, and there's a better slider. You could live with those. Brian Shaw, who came in, actually got the loss last night. But the one thing about Miguel Castro, if he's able to do what he's done in his first 6 games, that usually means he throws the ball over the plate. And as I say that, he bounces one. Might have lost his footing.
Well, right now it's a save situation, yet the closer's not getting loose. A big moment last night for Miguel. He got 2 huge outs in a tie game. Bases loaded, 1 down when he was brought in. Just off the plate, 3-1.
Yeah, Cody Allen, I mean, he's had a nice year for him, but we never know. And if a guy's not available, whether he's sick or whatever, I mean, 15 out of 16, they're not going to publicize it. I'm not sure I see him out there.
Chop to third. Manny has to charge. And gets it to Mancini for the out. And one away here in the Cleveland ninth. Orioles baseball on MASN is brought to you by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. So it's Castro's job to keep it as is at 3-0. Give the Orioles a better chance. Andrew Miller has pitched 2 innings in relief.
2 exquisite innings. Bases loaded, nobody out. The Orioles don't score. It was pretty impressive.
3rd time he's pitched 2 innings. There's the short hair going.
The summer cut, Jim, as you know.
Well, it was summer here when he pitched. He had long hair. Maybe he's learning with experience.
That's the old high school haircut. Sleep about 15-20 minutes later, still get to your first class on time. The old buzz cut. Probably had one of those.
I did when I was real young, because my father liked that.
Yeah, look at Bradley Zimmer. He started the rally in the 5th with he took an 0-2 pitch to center field, and then Perez would hit a double on a 1-2 pitch. Again, it's pretty hittable because it's down and in. He just drops the bat. But for a young guy, and they've been messing with him as a former. I mean, at 2014, he's your '1 draft choice out of the University of San Francisco. And the 2 college boys are just talking things over at first. Trey Mancini out of Notre Dame.
Fighting Irish. Here's Roberto Perez, who hit an RBI double off Gausman on a 1-2 pitch after the 0-2 pitch single by Zimmer. Well, Zimmer has good speed, and he's already stolen 6 bases in 7 attempts. Dan Otero has joined Shaw, so still no Cody Allen. So what you have there is if the Indians score, there goes Zimmer. Pitch is high, throw the tag, he is safe.
Yeah, young pitcher, inexperienced pitcher, speed. Not afraid to steal. Yeah, I see a lot of young players that fit into that category. Big long legs. And watch Scope just sustain the tag. I mean, he'll hold it on him, but hold it just in case he comes off. That's Bobby Dickerson, Orioles infield coach, third base coach. So just in case.
So
the old days, if you did that, they would have smacked you. But now it's just part of the game with the challenges and the ability to go back and get a video challenge of plays.
Good slider, 2-1. Perez shaking his head.
Well, his double was huge because he really, I mean, doesn't play a lot. Played in the doubleheader. Actually went 2 for 4, but he does not hit. That's only his third double of the season. And what about now 92 at bats. He just got a ball in the middle of the plate. He was able to drive into the gap for the first run. And you better pay attention to Zimmer.
And that's ripped into left field for a base hit. Zimmer's going to be held. He hit it too hard. So first and third with only 1 down.
So Roberto Perez having a very nice night. Misses the target by about 6 inches, so it's right into the hitting sweet spot. And the double a little bit higher, but a couple of nice at bats. He's done a terrific job behind the plate.
So about that scope tag, you're implying that in your era that wouldn't have been taken upon too kindly, holding that tag?
No, maybe you just tag the guy and you're either out or you're not. Now you know why they're doing it. You're taught that way. Or at least most players are. Orioles are.
Do you remember the tag on your 1 career stolen base in 1971?
No, I probably.
Well, you only had 1. I figured you remember.
No, I actually don't recall that. I recall pinch hitting in Tony Kubek in New York when I was 19, saying, "Don't get picked off, kid." And
pitch running?
That cut, yes, I pinch ran. And I cut my lead in half because I was 19 and I, grew up being a Yankee fan. And I'm going, well, if Tony Kubek tells me to cut my lead down, I better do that. I once pinch ran with nobody out, and Charlie Lau, who was one of our went on to be one of the great hitting instructors. Hot muggy night, he hits a triple and runs out of gas, has to crawl into third base. Nobody out, I had to go pinch run for him.
Ground ball and a base hit in the right field. And the Indians get that insurance run. Lindor comes through. He has a 3 RBI night.
Yeah, you just find a young pitcher and back-to-back nights, and it's not wild, but are you making quality pitches? So, and again, Lindor, he loves to get his arms extended. The home run was on a fastball out over the plate. So both Zimmer got a good pitch to hit, Perez got a good pitch to hit, and now Lindor. And again, they're working their way, trying to make it 8 consecutive games with 10 hits or more. Came in with 7.
Here's Jason Kipnis. He'll take low. Kipnis singled back in the 5th. It was much sharper last night.
Well, he only faced 2 batters, and he came in, he got, made through 4 great sliders. the Gomes. He swung through him. I think he maybe matches up a little bit better against righties, especially with the breaking ball. But you got to like his arm, and he's young at 22. There's a slider and a fastball count, so that could be effective. Yeah, he's just going to have to learn to pitch a little bit. Alec Asher getting up just in case this inning is prolonged.
And of course, not what Buck wanted to do here in the 9th inning. Asher, long man. And that ball's troubled towards right center field. That's going to be a base hit. Being sent towards the plate is Perez. Here's the throw. It's too late. Did he miss the plate? Nope, he's safe. Blackney never made a call, and Caleb went to tag him, and then he said, no, he's safe.
So again, another fastball, kind of off the end of the bat, and I'm not sure he thought that Perez was going to try to score, but he does.
And yep, he got his hand on there.
Well, you go see Caleb go back just in case, because he's waiting. He doesn't hear anything.
The umpire didn't do anything.
No, and then right there tags him, but right then he has made the safe sign. There, a nice slide.
So after getting Jackson to begin the inning, 4 consecutive singles and 2 big insurance runs, it's now 5-0. Terry Francona's team really getting healthy on this road trip. They swept Minnesota in 4, and they're 3 outs away from taking 2 of the first 3 here against the Orioles. Ramirez takes ball 1.
Yeah, I could see Miguel Castro at some point. He's got the slider, he's got the fastball. He'll learn a changeup off that. Maybe be able to slow some bats down. I don't like the fact that he's not afraid to throw it over. I mean, obviously you got to make better pitches. I mean, there's a nice one. That's a changeup. So he'll work on that, and then all of a sudden he'll be able to go from 86 to 97. I don't know if he can throw a better changeup than he just threw. Because a lot of young kids, when they starting to get hit around, they don't want to even be close to the plate.
And another base hit off the bat of Ramirez. Lindor was going to the plate, and a late hole throw behind him, but he gets back.
So you get an idea of how good they are, and because right there he comes to back-to-back changeups. The second one is not as good at the first, and Ramirez, like we said, he now has hit what? That is 9 straight games with 2 hits or more.
So 2 runs in, the bases are loaded, still only 1 down. Asher comes on in the 9th.
last night. No hits, a couple of walks through 33 pitches. So that's, to your point, Jim, that's why I didn't want to bring him back. But again, getting to be a little bit of BP off Miguel Castro. A lot of balls ending up in the middle of the plate. Yeah, last night he was just kind of cruising along, and then a couple back-to-back walks. So that's how they got to the bullpen with Miguel Castro. So he saved him last night, getting out of a bases loaded situation in a 5-5 game. Yeah, fastball, cutter, occasional curveball, changeup. 90 to 92. And with only one out, looking to see if there's a ball hit back to him. In fact, if there's a ball hit back to him, he may come home. If he thinks he can turn two, because Encarnacion doesn't run that well, probably picked up, probably be scoped, which infield I'm going to be able to is going to be covering.
Encarnacion was the first batter he faced last night when he relieved Chris Tillman. And he got Encarnacion on a pop up to third. Sharply hit foul. Five consecutive singles, 2 runs in, bases loaded, still only 1 out.
Yeah, if there's any concern that they weren't going to get 10+ hits for the 8th straight game, it came to fruition here in the 8th inning or 9th inning.
Five of the 9 hitters for the Indians have multi-hit games, including Ramirez, who has now done that 9 consecutive games. Asher falls behind 2-1. There's nowhere to put him.
Well, he's walked 43 times, as we mentioned. He's struck out 66 times. So it's kind of controlled aggression by Edwin. There's a good pitch. He's thinking, I know I'm getting a fastball, and doesn't get it.
So now that it's not a safe situation, Montero is getting loose by himself as Brian Shaw sits down.
I think that might have been a foul ball.
Well, 3-2 on Encarnacion. 2-2 on the foul ball. And a slow roller.
Yeah, another one, that 2-seamer, just trying to stay in on his fist.
So this is now 18 consecutive games. The Orioles have allowed 5 or more runs. Second most in MLB history. The 1924 Phillies allowed 5 or more runs in 20 straight games.
Great take there.
So Encarnacion with a quality at bat. He's about to see the 8th pitch. And there's nowhere to put him. Fouls it off.
Yeah, you go back and look at, I mean, he's not, I mean, he's your conventional slugger where he hits a lot of home runs. In 2013 for the Blue Jays, he had 36. Next year, 234. 2015, 39. Last year, he tied for the league in RBIs with 127, 42 home runs. But early on, in fact, how do you hit 36 home runs and strike out 62 times? Not in this age. And there you go. See a nice pitch, late life, 93. And he knew it. He kind of does a little pirouette and goes right back to the dugout. Not about pirouette, I'm pirouette. Apparently I've never done one of those.
Well, you stole a base.
Well, I did.
Back in 1971.
Took it home with me too.
Really? I don't blame you.
It was a very memorable stolen base.
So much so you can't remember it.
No, well, I just remember I got the base somewhere. No. I learned that from Earl Weaver. He actually argued a play and took the base with him once in the minor leagues. They threw out Earl, but they had to go get the base.
Strike one to Chisenhall. And he popped him up. This should do it. In the top of the ninth, Scope over. Gentry calls, and Gentry makes the catch, and that'll end it. So Asher does a good job, gets the final 2 outs. Indian add 2 insurance runs. They strand the bases loaded. We head to the bottom of the ninth at Camden Yards. Runs top of the ninth. There's Eric Gonzalez. He'll take over for Kitness at second base.
So Dan Otero comes in. I mean, great sinker. Yeah, good changeup. Keeps the ball on the ground. I mean, last year, after coming over from Oakland, he went 5-1 with a 1.53 RA. So again, 32-year-old right-hander. Born in Miami, lives in Scottsdale. Good guy at 6'3", 205. Numbers probably not quite as good yet this year, but gives them length and experience in their bullpen.
So those insurance runs very, very big as the Orioles now trail by 5. Trumbo leads off, then Mancini and Scope.
Well, it's big tonight, but it's also big the fact that you don't, this is a team, when we talk about the Indians, and hopefully the Orioles will be in that capacity, it's built to play in the postseason. So again, if you can spread your innings around, and if the closer's not available tonight, no big deal when you add a couple of runs and you have Otero that can come in and change speeds. It's not overpowering, but everybody knows him because he pitched with Oakland and had some really good years for them. I mean, he's 17-7 out of the bullpen, 2.93 ERA, and he's not overpowering. He's a strike thrower. Rarely walks people. Of course, the Orioles would like to have 1 or 2 now. Get back, at least give them a finish here. That's what we used to always say. Give them a finish. At least get ready for tomorrow night.
Mark 2 out of 3. His 26th multi-hit game, which leads the Orioles. Another long night for the skipper. Once towards short. Ramirez cuts in front.
Yeah, Lindor, apparently, I don't have an assist contract. No clause in my contract. I mean, always a former shortstop because I'll take this. Look at this range. I mean, he turns double plays with the plum, and he makes every play look pretty routine.
And Lindor's getting on, saying, you know, I'm here. I'm here right behind you. Mancini has a 2-hit night. His 18th multi-hit game. Mancini's never seen Otero. "5-0 Cleveland. The Orioles have been held to 7 hits. They did have an opportunity in the 7th inning. They chased Carlos Carrasco with 3 consecutive singles, but then Andrew Miller came on, got Joey Ricker, the pinch hitter, on a fielder's choice. The runner gunned down at the plate. Then Joseph and Ruben Tejada struck out back-to-back. Another base hit for Trey Mancini. Wow.
Well, again, he's a ground ball pitcher. I mean, now 66 balls hit off of Dan Otero this year, and 57 of them are on the ground. So he gets the result, but man, Trey just says, I'll just go back up the middle. There's nobody playing there. Game doesn't end till you make 27 outs.
Mancini's now batting .422 in his last 10 games. He has 19 hits and 45 at-bats, actually in his last 12 games. And Scope takes 2 tight. Jonathan 1 out of 3. He singled in the 7th inning. He was the last batter Carrasco would face. Terry Francona taking notes, Buck looking on. And as always, John Russell right by his side. And Scope has another base hit. Mancini's going to head to third. That ball goes all the way to the wall. Mancini's going to be sent. Trey around third. He's coming to the plate, and he will score. And the Orioles get on the board here in the 9th. Jonathan Scope, an RBI double, gets the Orioles on the board.
Yeah, they may have to get someone to close the game of Otero. A nice at bat by Jonathan. He works the count in his favor, and again, he's so much a better hitter because he'll use the whole field. He just stays inside it, doesn't overswing, doesn't roll over, because you know he's a ground ball pitcher. Gets one elevated, and you get on the board.
And that is our Lexus of Towson drive of the game. Lexus of Towson, the area's #1 volume Lexus dealer for 7 straight years. Come see why at lexusoftowson.com. And Brian Shaw getting back up. It's a 4-run game. Indians still need 2 outs. And Rickard falls behind 0-2.
He's got a little slider, and that's usually the way they try to pitch. Joey, good fastball hitter, a young hitter that really, what, about 90 at bats at AAA. How to keep him. Now he got something straight, or not straight, because usually Otero doesn't throw a whole lot of stuff straight, but he's got a fastball.
Well, Rickard, with his bounce out in the 7th, is now 0 for his last 12. He hasn't been getting a lot of starts as of late. Doesn't chase. 1-2. Carrasco started 6 scoreless innings. He also faced 3 batters in the 7th. Andrew Miller 2 scoreless innings. Stranded the bases loaded in the 7th, and then a 3-up, 3-down 8th. Orioles in this game in their first 8 at bats went 3-up, 3-down 4 times, and Rickard down on strikes.
Yeah, a little bit extra. 4-seamer and a 2-seamer. This one's a 4-seamer. Just can't quite catch up with it. One of the many pitchers that has, at some point in their career, had to go through the Tommy John surgery, ligament replacement, and survived it. Never started a game, minor leagues or big leagues. Always been out of the pen.
Here's Caleb Joseph, last chance for the O's, and he'll fall behind 0-1. The Orioles came in the best team with runners in scoring position in the league at 307. But they're hitless tonight. There's a bouncer towards third, and it gets past Ramirez. Lindor dropped it, but Jonathan had already stopped at third.
Yeah, and you're 4 runs down, and you're not going to try to score. And so Ramirez all over the place, but this time. Now, of course, this is not Lindor's ball, but the top spin, again, you're trying to pick their hop. You don't have a lot of time, so you can see him backpedaling a little bit, and again, he couldn't look it into the glove. And I think that last hop kind of distorted the vision. He probably thought he could get more of the leather on it, and even though that at least could have been the final out, now they're going to go to their bullpen. So Dan Otero gives up a run and leaves a couple of guys on.
So the error on Ramirez allows the inning to continue, and a pitching change here in the 9th at Camden Yards.
Last night, he's actually pitched very well. You can see the numbers, but gave up a double to Manny Machado, deep right center field, and then a sliced line drive right down the right field corner by Adam Jones. So again, that number a little bit higher. It's a long season, so cutter, slider, and it's a hard cutter. He can throw it about 94 miles per hour, which we saw last night.
Here's Tejada.
And there it is at 94, and it just veers from strike to ball. Full tilt. I think the double that Machado hit was not a cutter. It was more like something about 85, 86. His slider that stayed up, and then Adam hit the double off the cut fastball. There's another one.
Weak ground ball to second. There's Gonzalez. He'll flip to Lindor, and that'll do it. They get the force on Caleb at second base. So the Orioles scratch out a run on a couple of hits. The inning extended on the error And Shaw comes on and gets the final out. And the Indians get this one 5-1. Well, we hope you can join us tomorrow. The Orioles and Indians wrap up the 4-game series, and the O's conclude the homestand. Wade Miley goes for the O's. Mike Clevenger will go for Cleveland. Our coverage on Masson begins at 6:30 with O's Extra presented by Southwest, and then game coverage at 7 o'clock. And now for Jim Palmer and our entire hardworking crew, Jim Hunter saying so long from Camden Yards. Once again, our final score, Cleveland 5, the Orioles 1. Tonight's telecast, a massive presentation. Tom and Rick, O's Extra comes your way right now.